Final workout here in the States before they head off to London. Perhaps we'll get an answer to what's going on later on this morning. 10:25. We'll hear from head coach Kevin Stefanski live right here on 92.3 The Fan. You can now find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas. Up next time for the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima here on 92.3 The Fan.
All the Browns and NFL news you may have missed at work. The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. 92.3 The Fan. The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
Breaking ball lined into the gap in right center and in for a hit. And then misplayed out there by Jonathan Rodriguez. And in the second goes Carpenter. That's a little looper that's going to fall in left field for a hit. Clawing up and will throw into second base. And Detroit takes a 1-0 lead. He hits it hard off the glove of Noel. It caroms toward Rocchio. Back to Noel. Safe. A bunt dropped down by Zach McKinstry. Noel will go to first, and Detroit takes the lead. Sacrifice bunt brings in McKinstry. It brings in Green off the bat of McKinstry. And it's 2-1 Detroit. Swings and pops it up. Shallow left. Baez out. He makes the catch. His error proves not to be costly. And the Detroit Tigers take game one of this American League Wild Card Series. 2-1.
Backs have been against the wall for 3 months. You know, what's one more day? Like I said, the way Tarek Skubal threw the ball tonight, I don't know if anybody's scoring off of him. He was absolutely outstanding. It took a little bit of guard ball turmoil there just to get one. Really battled, but he was some kind of special today.
This is Cleveland Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
We made history to get here. We have to make history again. Guardians. Guards ball, not enough. They fall 2-1. 4 stinking hits is all they could muster in the opener, and now it is win or go home later today at Carnegie in Ontario. First pitch, 108, and Tanner Bybee, good luck, kid. Season on the line. Anthony Lima, Andy Baskin is in for Kenny. We've got Owen, we've got Mitch, we got Matt Underwood. Who knows what kind of fun we have in store for a must-win? Does it feel like must-win? Is it sinking in that your season is on the line already today, day 2 of the playoffs?
Well, if you want to get historic like you did in the Open, I mean, then this is the way the wild card has always been played, right? One game and you're done. Look, they met up against the best pitcher in baseball yesterday, and they had to play perfect baseball to win, and they didn't. 3 costly mistakes, 2 unbelievably early. I know we'll debate some of the other things, but you know what? It's okay. Like, I'm not worried. I'm not worried. And let the history of this, no one's ever come back. We've only done it once, right? Once. So, I mean, you got 4 games that went in favor of the team that had home field advantage before.
Owen had the numbers yesterday.
We've never had a team lose game 1 and win the series. They've only done 12 of these series.
12, that's what it is. Okay,
so it's only 10 of the 12 times it's been a 2-0 sweep, right? Only 2 times has it been to a game 3. We're going to have to go to a game 3 to win the series, obviously.
It's got to happen sometime.
But it's
so
also,
why can't it happen
this
today?
is only the 4th season of it. It's not
4th.
like
Feels like the first.
When we talk about baseball, we talk in these infinite numbers. They've been playing the game since 1876. They've only been doing this since 2022.
Well, the feeling during the game, I will admit, the feeling was that once you didn't get Jose Ramirez home in the 9th inning, he's sitting there on third, there are no outs, and then you have 2 of the worst at-bats you could ever imagine. It was a day full of awful at-bats, awful approaches, leading everybody to wonder about the lineup, and we'll get into all that, and we'll get into Jose Ramirez's decision to go on contact. All of that stuff, that's what breaking down baseball is all about. We're going to be second-guessing like no other. In the end, I think they had 1 ball, managed to get to the outfield.
Manzardo, right?
That was it. Yeah. It was just ineptitude, and Skubal, we were all hoping we were in his head. We were decidedly not in his head. He looked like Pedro Martinez.
Did you really think you were going to be in Skubal's head yesterday? There was no way.
That was the hope because of the circus of events that transpired last week. We had no business beating him last week. We had no business beating him the game before. I mean, how many hits have we mustered off this guy? What is his ERA?
It's
in the 4 appearances we've had against him.
.064.
It's
and we're 2-2 against him.
And we're 2-2 against him. He is Pedro Martinez. Like right now against us, and the hope was
Who is Kalim Garcia?
Well, you remember how dominant he was against the Guardians? It's why I brought his name up yesterday.
But why can't we just sit here and respect the fact that Tarek Skubal is the best pitcher in baseball? This team did everything possible that they know how to do to win, and they came up short. They had to play perfect baseball against the perfect pitcher
in the first inning.
And there was no way Skubal wasn't coming back after last week, after knowing that he had an entire week to think about, why did I hike that ball between my legs? Yeah. Oh man, I feel bad about, hitting somebody in the face, and I showed my emotion, and that was the first time. I mean,
you're thinking logically.
Somebody. You're
thinking logically. Guards ball, what you just heard our manager reference. You really can't rely on that version of guards ball. You can't rely on no balls getting out of the infield and thinking you're going to win a game in the playoffs. You got lucky enough that you were able to do it before.
I'm going to disagree with you, man. I think that's the best time for it because that's how you're able to figure things out, except for when you're playing teams like the Yankees last year, right? Like, the Yankees are going to step to the plate and they're going to knock it out of the park every time.
They're a firepower team, yeah. You got to match them at firepower, right? You don't have to do that with the Tigers. The Tigers aren't killing the ball.
No, not right now against us.
That's why
they did so in the first half of the season.
I am optimistic about today. Very optimistic about today.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask, and let's just get it out of the way. Let's dispense with the formalities. 216-474-0092. How are you feeling about today? Because again, it's another pregame show. We're basically, we're sitting here flailing away yesterday at Skubal, but obviously they switched their pitching staff. At least it looks like. Who's going today? Is it Mize instead of Flaherty? So
it's Mize. Yeah.
It's a little bit of a shakeup. I think people thought it was going to be Flaherty, and we've got Bybee. So this was our ace, right? I know by the end of the year it was like, is it Bybee? Is it Gavin Williams? But you've got your best guy, the guy you're supposed to have the most confidence in, going on the mound at home today to keep the season going and to keep history in play.
You want to make you feel good about today?
You're feeling good about today.
Yeah, I feel good today because Jose Ramirez is 5 for 10 against this guy, Casey Mize, right? We've got guys again.
Well, today should be more of a normal game.
Neither one of these guys
right? Yesterday
no one pitching is Skubal. That's the thing.
Yeah,
one pitching is Skubal.
Yesterday was not normal. Yesterday, although it was very similar to the Red Sox-Yankees game, that was 3-1. I know the Cubs was 3-1. And then the Dodgers just waxed Cincinnati. They made it closer at the end, but they won 10-5. But yesterday in 3 of the games, it was very much bizarre October baseball where runs were very hard to come by. They were at a premium. You talked about having to play perfect. You don't have much of a margin for error anyway, this Guardians team, against these other lineups. Yeah. You had no margin for error yesterday, and yet you're sitting there in the 9th inning, a chance to win. So I do want to ask you, Jose Ramirez, it's very hard to ever complain about anything Jose does. I know we get some stragglers this time of year going, what about October? When is he going to come through in the playoffs? But yet he's sitting there on third base with no outs. Was there a Tigers fan that thought they were going to win the game when he was sitting there with no outs on third? I guarantee you, after what the Tigers have just witnessed over the last month, no Tigers fans, if they're being honest, thought they were going to win the game. This was our game to win at that point. What went wrong, Andy, when he's sitting on third with no outs?
Okay, first of all, he didn't get the at-bats that he needed to get him home. All you needed was a fly ball. I didn't feel real good about the 2 guys that stepped up to the plate.
No,
I'm not going to get mad at Jose Ramirez for going on contact. I'm sorry. Last week, you were really happy when he went on contact and scored. Everybody was happy when he left on contact.
It's the most aggressive base runner there really is.
Without a doubt, the most aggressive base runner that we have on this team. That's how we've won games before. And you know what? If anyone gets a pass, it's him. The guy deserves a statue outside that stadium now. Look at the records he's broke. I'm not going to get mad at our best player, the reason we're here, because he left on contact. I can't.
I want to hear baseball, guys, because I saw a lot of it yesterday on the timeline. I heard people calling, yesterday at the afternoon show. They were all over it. The guys that said, hey, in Little League, we teach you can't go on contact there. Not in that situation.
Baseball guys are not going to be upset by what he did.
Go ahead, Owen. Explain.
He did exactly what he's supposed to do in that situation. Right. You want to be aggressive on that. He's also not just your best base runner. He's one of the best base runners in baseball by making these. He makes calculated risk, right? That's what he does every time he's on the base path. That's why he ended up at third. He knew as soon as the ball went past him at first base, he was going to third. Everybody knew it.
The helmet was
flies off.
So
when
that's
the helmet comes off, he's going to third.
You're right. You can't be mad at him for being aggressive because that's what got him to third. The only thing you maybe want to question is him going back to the base.
So this was a killer.
Old school baseball.
You didn't force a throw, and you didn't get the runner to second. It was Manzardo, but you didn't get the runner to second, and you didn't force a throw home.
But old school baseball, you might take a Pete Rose shot at the catcher on the way in, lay your shoulder in him.
But how we scored a run yesterday?
Yeah.
It was a play at the plate.
That's right.
We slid in and got the hand inside. It looked called out originally, right? And then video review told you that he was safe at home.
Right.
It's the same situation. You can fault him, I guess, on that for not at least pushing. Once you're already pushing the pace of the game and going on contact, to not continue that through, but maybe, I don't know. If it wasn't Manzardo, maybe he ends up on second instead of just getting to first.
Yeah, that was the one thing. I'm like, if it would have been anybody but Manzardo. And, Jose, you could see the look of just dejection. He's sitting there. He had the whole place worked into a lather, and I'm convinced they started opening up the turnstiles late in that game.
They just let people in?
Because all of a sudden, there were way more people at the end of that game when they were showing the stands.
They used to let people in after the seventh.
Why wouldn't you?
I would have let them in at the beginning.
It was not a sellout.
I don't know, man. I've
more on that a little bit later on.
I've stood out in left field on a Tuesday where there's 1,000 open seats in front of me, and if you go try and sit in one of those, they are telling you, Dorothy's telling you to get out of the seat.
Oh man, you got to go the way
they're open.
You got to go with the Cavs approach.
I'm talking about way back in the day.
Back in the day for the Cavs games, they had seat fillers down there when you had national television. They could have used some seat fillers yesterday at the start of that game. Either way,
they should have been busing schools in. I can give you a million educational reasons why they could have busted
out of school. They should have been there yesterday.
I know. The transportation would have been an issue. 216-474-0092. Russ in Euclid. Russ, what happened there? How'd they not get the run in?
Hey, Russ.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Okay, here's my problem with it. Go on first contact, but Vogt doesn't have anybody sitting on the bench who can lay down a frigging bunt. If you're going to go on first contact, how about a bunt up the first baseline? My gosh, I mean, he was a sitting duck.
Well, David Fry would have been nice to have. Unfortunately, not available.
I mean, Valera couldn't lay down a bunt. I mean, frankly, I was just glad they didn't bring up Chase DeLauder because I don't think that kid needed that pressure at this point in his lifetime.
Yeah, Russ. Well, no. Stay tuned. Later in the show, Owen's got a prescription for what ails the Guardians, and it might involve the kid.
But I don't care about the pressure today because everybody's under pressure.
Yeah,
that's true.
There's
why
a reason
not?
You put him on the roster.
That's exactly right.
That is. I thought about that yesterday because obviously, Noel, Rodriguez, there are a few holes in those swings yesterday. And this is where the second guessing, this is what we always do in baseball, especially like when the guys you use don't work out, especially come playoff time, we jump to the assumption that other guys would have worked out.
Wouldn't it have been nice to have Noel coming off the bench to try to hit a fly ball to get him into third?
Yeah, not off of Skubal, but anybody else. Maybe.
Well, no, Skubal was out.
Right,
I mean, it was at the end of the game. I would have rather had Noel at the end of the game.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I know we'll probably get into it a lot deeper, but I would have played Kafis the whole game.
Well, we're all going to how could it have been worse, right?
Yeah.
And Owen, we were talking before the show.
But I've been saying that since he was in Columbus. So
I know. Yes, you have.
Yeah.
But Rodriguez, is he only playing yesterday? Is he only in that game yesterday because of what happened with the home run off them last
Saturday?
Time? Yeah, Saturday.
Trying to go with the hot bat.
They brought him up, and he came in, and he stroked the ball. I mean, he got a hold of it. And so, yeah.
And that felt like playoff pressure.
And not only does he come in and flail away at the best pitcher in baseball, right? Bad swings at pitches that were meant for him to swing bat at. He also routine pick up a ball in right field in the first inning, and he lets it tip off his glove. The guy ends up on second, and they end up getting the first run off of that because, it's a pressure game, and I get that you're trying to not overreact to the pressure, but the casualness of it all proved to be a killer, right? They end up winning the game by that one run.
Yeah.
Casualness, too. I did think, it's just a little thing. I also saw, Bo Naylor kind of trotting it out to first on a terrible at bat. Yeah. Like, that's just not the time for this. It's the playoffs. Get these guys throwing the ball around. Put some pressure on them.
I think it was his last strikeout. Catcher dropped the ball.
Yeah,
like, didn't even make an attempt to go to first base.
We wondered about if there was a chance we could be in Scooble's head, and it was pretty clear, like, the approach that they had. There was always do you want them to be aggressive maybe the first time through the order, then see such as the second time? Like, we're all playing rock, paper, scissors on this when a guy is in command, and when in the 7th inning, he's hitting 101 on the gun, and that place is as quiet as it could possibly be. That's what hurts so much about the Jose situation at the end, is like, holy cow, we could steal one. And they kind of needed to steal one yesterday. But Baskin says, keep hope alive. 216-474-0092. We are loaded for you today. I want to hear from Guards fans. How are you feeling? Because today, in essence, is another pregame show. What would you guys do with the lineup? What would you change heading into today? Where did it go wrong yesterday? And are the Browns trying to make sure it doesn't go wrong again? Lots of rumors floating around what could happen with the signal caller. We will break that down as well. Somebody says Flacco actually wasn't the problem. We have all that straight today coming up here on Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
dropping off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
From the Kissling, Nestico, and Reddick Traffic Center, call 1-800-HURT-NOW.
Traffic is light, 480 east from 176 to Warrensville Center, 71 north from the Turnpike to West 25th, and 90 east from 611 to Euclid Avenue. This is Joe Checkeye for 92.3 The Fan.
Kevin Kugler here from Westwood One. Join me and Ross Tucker for Thursday Night Football this week when Christian McCaffrey and the 49ers head south to face the Rams in Los Angeles. San Francisco at 3-1 is coming off their first loss of the season, while a win moved Matthew Stafford and the Rams to 3-1. Which will pick up a big NFC West Division win? Find out on Thursday Night Football.
The radio home of the NFL in Cleveland is Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
All right, game 2, and it literally is win or go home later today as we get you ready for second game of the wild card, second game of the playoffs. Guardians fall in the opener. And now, how desperate do they get? How different does the lineup look today? Because basically none of the levers that they tried to pull, that Vo tried to pull yesterday, we're going to work against that dominant pitcher on the other side in Skubal. But the good news is you won't see him again. That's it.
No, you're done.
They don't have him again. And you got Bybee. Do we have an update, Mitch? The Guardians, is there a chance? Are we favorites today? Now, given the pitching situation, you're going up against Mize instead of Flaherty for this pivotal game.
Can I start with you there?
Go ahead.
If you were the Tigers, would you start Flaherty or Mize today? I would start Flaherty today.
I was a little surprised.
I don't know why you would. I'm just looking at batting averages. The Guardians against Mize are hitting 281, the guys that have hit against him. And then if you look at Flaherty, they're hitting 205. Flaherty's, his ERA is, I don't even think it's even close to 2 against the Guardians.
Mize was an all-star, right? So he was one of their 6 all-stars when they got off to that great start.
Flaherty was not good except for against the Guardians. Flaherty's not been good all year except for when he plays against Cleveland.
We finally hit a home run against him.
That's even more reason to do that, because then you're looking at, if you run Flaherty out today against, I'm looking at this from the Detroit perspective, which I like the way they did it now, but wouldn't you want Mize to be able to, if for some reason you win today, you would either, or even if you lose, then you'd have Mize in a closeout game, or you'd have Mize in game 1. Personally, if I was them, I would have ran Flaherty today and Mize tomorrow.
All right, I'll be honest. Emotionally, the minute they don't get that run home yesterday in the 9th with Jose getting himself in a rundown, and they lose the game, Kafis was the final at bat, it flies out. When that game ends, I'll be honest, I was thinking of the numbers. I was thinking of what Owen said yesterday, that even though they had made history, I kind of lost the faith. And I thought about it.
Really?
Well, it's just such a short series. And
I'm going to tell you why.
They've got no margin for error whatsoever.
I'm going to tell you why you feel that. You know why?
Why is that?
Because when the game immediately ended yesterday, I don't know if you caught it, you didn't hear a sound. You didn't hear a peep. Somebody must have been swearing because they knocked out the microphone at the end of the game. Yeah, because normally you hear
pretty quiet the entire game.
No, but at the dead end of the game, there was a mic that was so either somebody was swearing and they went to delay and they didn't want to air that, or
Are you sure it wasn't
dead noise. It was not real. It wasn't Nat sound.
Are you sure it wasn't the Dairy Brothers or Daryl Ryder?
Probably, yes.
Launching into a profanity-laced tirade.
Oh, Daryl, he'll let it fly.
Was it Andrew Siciliano? He was there. I mean, it was a who's who for that first game.
Well, Andrew had to catch a flight.
I know. Well, they needed a few more of the who's who. They ended up with 26,186 yesterday, well below a sellout. So we brought this up before the game. And we had Curtis in yesterday, and Curtis had tipped me off early in the morning.
Curtis Sandberg, father of the Ohio State sideline reporter.
That's right. Who I'm going to be working with this
husband
weekend.
of Danielle, who sang the national anthem yesterday.
I heard she did a terrific job.
She was very good, very good.
Curtis told me there were tickets available, and
she is the Rocco Scotty of this era.
A repeat performer, because Rocco was
the man that sang the anthem when I was a kid for everything. Danielle has is at the same pace.
All right. Well, I don't want her doing it again, only because we need good luck charms.
Wow! Ouch!
Well, that's how it works, right?
Yeah.
You got no room for error. We've got to
bring
pull
in
out
a whole new set of everything.
Well, the Cavs just put a recording on for.
Well, remember the one year the Cavs just went to somebody saying, "Oh, say can you," and then everyone else took over,
took care of it. I will say when I looked at the crowd when ESPN welcomed into coverage, I think Sean McDonough is, people know, has been my favorite forever. Play-by-play guy.
Did you want to take him breakfast this morning over to the hotel?
You know what? I didn't know he was doing the game. Mitch was supposed to be on top of the announcers because we wanted to get the announcers on the show. In fact, Mitch, are you reaching out to Sean McDonough? I'm sure he'd come on. Syracuse ties. He's in Cleveland. What else does Sean McDonough have to
stand outside the hotel?
Yeah. Oh, he's probably staying at. Oh, we don't have to worry about where he's staying. But
hockey does a fantastic job on hockey.
All right, he's great at lacrosse. He's great at hockey. He did the World Series when he was like 29 years old.
Yes.
And then he got banished from football because he was too honest. And there's some other reasons there too. So
very talented family too. And beyond him, like
his brother is a GM or was a GM. He's been an Odyssey insider in the past. So
yes.
Yesterday they showed the crowd. I was a little surprised. I was tipped off. I knew there were going to be open seats. I didn't know there were going to be that many open seats. Owen said there was a big snafu with them not even allowing you to buy upper deck tickets for a while.
I looked every day from when so Friday at 10 a.m. they started putting them on sale. $80 was the cheapest one I could find from the box office until yesterday. And it was $49 after fees. So it was $41 in taxes, right? So it was $49 yesterday morning. But that's day of the game, you know. If I'm going, I'm not going. I would have went by myself probably if I had to, but I want to take my kids, right? My boys have been on the ride with me this year too. You know, I think I ended up 32 was my final count for the year. My
32 games Owen attended this year.
Wow, man.
Toby went to 20. He's 11 years old. You know, like I'm not.
Did you buy the pass? Did you buy the season? Or the monthly pass?
You got a lot of mileage out of the pass.
Oh.
And the beatbox.
And they got a lot of mileage out of my beatbox account. So we broke even there.
All right. So, you know, playoff game. I got a text, I'll admit, from a friend of the show who's not so friendly on the show when he comes on with Ken from Pittsburgh. I got a text from Andrew, and Andrew said, "What is going on? How is this not a sellout?" And I told him about the ticket situation. I told him that we sold out two of the games
would have been in exactly the same boat. If this was Pittsburgh, it'd be the same boat.
Well, I also told him, I said, playoffs, kind of old hat around here. I mean, I know it sounds crazy. Same thing with Tomlin in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Just getting to the playoffs is not enough for a lot of fans. And I tried to work people into a fervor yesterday. And I will admit, we ignored them for most of the day. I was hearing from people saying, wake me up if they get to the ALDS. And I just don't understand.
Who were you hanging with? They're saying that.
No, this was social media. This was listeners of the show. This was the YouTube chat yesterday. Of course, we're live on YouTube. Don't forget, Kevin Stefanski will talk today at 10:25. I know there have been some rumors swirling. We'll get to that coming up in about 8 minutes.
Consider this, okay? They put in, 190,000 over those last 6 games of the last homestand.
It was huge turnout. Huge walk-up.
Huge. I mean, you're talking about 15,000 a day. Turnaround quick. But the tickets would be significantly cheaper than they would be for a playoff game. I believe Major League Baseball sets the rates for how much tickets are
that's
for.
True, yes.
Yeah, and so I mean they control everything. So it's hard. I mean, don't get mad at the Guardians for the ticket prices.
People were mad the Guardians were jinxing. Yeah, people were asking if they were jinxing by even selling playoff tickets.
I'm not mad at the ticket prices. It was the locations the tickets I'm talking about were up higher. And, you know, I know for a fact that until they sell out those tickets, they can't even open up the standing room tickets.
Correct.
They would be the same price as the lower end tickets that are, you know, all the way at the top of the stadium. So it's not like that's the problem.
It's a super quick turn for a Tuesday game.
It's Major League Baseball making you play midweek games at 1:00 too. That's a huge problem.
How many more? What kind of a difference would it have been had it have been a 7, a 6:30?
It's a big difference.
I think you're a sellout.
Sellout. Yep.
I mean, we sold out last week during the week on Wednesdays and
6:40 even would have been good
because they were 6:40 starts, right? We've been at 6:40 starts all year, and then 7:15 on the weekends.
If you're Major League Baseball, New York can sell out in one day. I mean, you get 6 million people there.
Right? They stood the entire game in New York yesterday.
They could sell a 1:00 game, but do they want to take the heat about pulling kids out of school in New York, or do they want to take the heat about pulling kids out of school in Cleveland?
Obviously, any Yankee game, if the Mets are out, they're on the outside looking in. But any Dodgers game,
that's too bad.
They're all going to be in prime time. Lisa in Ravenna. How are you, Lisa? Welcome to the show.
Hey, Lisa.
Hey, guys. Good morning.
Hey.
Good morning.
Morning.
Hey, so listen, you got to play CJ at first base.
Yes.
I mean, this is. Don't you wish we had Santana now?
Well, not at the plate.
I don't know.
Yeah, but he's a Gold Glove first baseman. You're right on that.
You could say they went on this great tear once they let him go. I'm just saying.
It doesn't matter at the plate with the guys that they had in there anyway. But defense, my gosh. We gave that game to them. Yes, we were the underdog, but we gave that game to them. We could have won the game. And to see Jose on third base, he looked so disgusted. I'm serious. He looked disgusted that nobody could get him in.
All right, thank you, Lisa. Let's have some good vibes. Let's have some good vibes for game two. So there's no doubt he was dejected. He didn't talk to the media after the game. Jose did not want to talk.
He declined.
He declined to talk.
I think that's a fine during the playoffs, isn't it?
Whatever.
I don't know.
I think it's a fine.
I think everybody wanted to know the same thing. Were you told, or was this you get to do what you want to do because you're Jose Ramirez?
You kind of have to man up after a game like that, especially when you're the superstar on the team.
I hope
just face the music. How hard is that?
I get how emotional everything was. I was emotional. I mean,
Yeah, I know we're all mad, but you know what? When you're the superstar, you got to face. You got just. The fans want to hear. I mean, they do. You're the guy we market. You're the guy, if you watch, your man McDonough, that's all he talked about.
For people that say he doesn't get the respect, McDonough, and who was doing the game with him, it was Frazier.
Yeah.
They were all over, how big of a season Jose Ramirez is having. The other thing is,
they said, as he goes, we go. They're right, and that's what happened yesterday.
And for anybody else who was questioning, yes, the lineup in question, but guys in the field like Rodriguez, you got to just feel that's a little league play.
Yeah.
You're in the major leagues.
Well, it's lackadaisical effort.
Especially after the first two. I mean, he had thrown 2 pitches and had 2 outs.
Yeah.
2 pitches, 2 outs.
And they should have never given up a run in that first. And think of the pressure. Skubal with a 1-run lead. And I actually think, all things considered, they hung in that game, especially on the other end. What a job by Gavin Williams. I feel bad we've waited 36 minutes to get to what a performance he had. He was sensational.
He was sitting at home going 35, 36. These idiots haven't talked about me yet. He was doing that. Seriously.
Well, he does. He has it. We all know that.
And he was insane. He gave you a chance to win the game.
I love that guy.
But then the other thing, Noel at first. Just can't happen.
I know we're out of time here, but I've got lineup change suggestions if we want to get to them.
Yeah.
Totally.
I'm sure Andy's probably on the same boat with me.
Okay.
As well.
One's real easy.
All right, we'll do that. What do you guys think they need to do with the lineup today? How are you feeling about the team? And are we so sure the Browns should be making a quarterback change? Reports are floating around that Dylan Gabriel will be the starter this week. We'll also hear from Kevin Stefanski at 10:25. We'll cut to that live here today on Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Hey, friends.
Unobstructed travel 176 north from 480 to West 14th and 77 north from Wheatley to 90. This is Joe Checkeye for 92.3 The Fan.
Stephen Vogt.
Of course it happened this way. We know them well, they know us well. 3 straight weeks of a early week series, and it's going to be fun. It's always fun when we play Detroit, and we're looking forward to it.
Talk about the Guardians anytime you want. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
All right, so yesterday sucked. Yesterday absolutely sucked. Did anybody enjoy just the fact that it was playoff baseball again? It felt like the crowd was so quiet right off the rip because you were down 1-0, and it was inconceivable how you gave up that run, especially when your pitcher gets through the first 2 hitters. Gavin was awesome. We can't give him enough love. I know he didn't win the game, so he's a tough luck for the team in general, tough luck loser. But, first 2 hitters, it's out.
2 pitches, 2 outs.
2 pitches, 2 outs. Doesn't get any better than that. 3 pitches, 3 outs would have been great. No error.
And I gotta give love to Hedges as well. He came in, and I was a little nervous. Same thing with in a situation, relievers in general, for them, I was like, is this going to come back to bite us in the ass that you don't have Clase and, Cade Smith?
Yeah, no, Gaddis came in and was nails, right? And then Zabrowski.
See, that, didn't you feel like when Skubal walked off the mound in the 8th, and that we struck out, right? Manzardo went down, Arias went down, Rokia went down. So all 3 of those guys strike out. You see Skubal throwing 101 miles an hour. He's just totally jazzed. He's going back to the back. You have this feeling that there's no way that the Tigers are like, you know what? We're like Ohio State, Michigan last year, because I kept thinking about that, right? If you look at it, the whole year, Tigers get knocked out by the Guardians. That's the same as Michigan beating Ohio State at the end of the year, and then look what happened. So if you're the Tigers, you want to be Ohio State. You want to be able to shake all the yick off from the regular season and be able to prove something in the playoffs. Can you see the comparison there?
Yeah, I can. I'm getting, obviously part of my anxiety here is that we had so much fun. The station had so much fun. The show had so much fun over the last, 3 weeks for a team we all buried. But that made it more fun, to be honest. I have to say, with the exception of Owen, was the one guy that didn't bury him.
Yeah, I was close to bury. I had a couple. I may have thrown a couple shovels of dirt in, but I wasn't ready to cover up the casket.
Well, we had people, even the overt apologists, right? Even those people were like, gotta sell the team. Like, that's how crazy it was. I heard you, Dairy Brothers podcast. I heard you guys. Like, people were saying stuff.
God, you were like the greatest promotion they have ever had.
Well, we're partners over here at Odyssey, and we had on Todd Dairy yesterday. But we were hearing stuff like everybody was so sick of everything.
Well, especially
even the front office.
You had the pitchers getting busted for their
you're right. You're right.
And then it became, well, they're going to trade Stephen Kwan, and it wasn't just rumor and speculation. That was the people in the know saying that they were, people were calling.
It was hard not to look. I'm sorry. I kept looking at the end of the season. I kept saying, look, Texas is still in this for the wild card. And I wasn't thinking of anything with Central. But then I was like, suddenly, probably with about 2 weeks to go, right after they came off that long, I'm like, they do play Detroit 6 times that last week. And I was like, that would take a miracle to pull that off, and they did. They pulled off a miracle.
But that's what I'm saying.
They moved up 4 games alone just in those 2 series.
Part of what was awesome was, even though a lot of people said, oh, you buried him. Yeah, I buried him. The fact that they made that run, the fact that it now officially is historic, that did make it awesome. When you have no expectations and you're so frustrated that you're killing the team, and then some people were way louder on that than others. When you are killing them, when you're acting like there are no redeemable qualities to an organization that's been tremendous, over the course of
Stop giving them credit. Stop giving them credit. Next thing you know, you're going to get phone calls. They don't spend enough money. I can't believe it. Why do they keep making the playoffs? You can't do anything.
For them to pull this off, Andy, was what made it awesome. That did make it awesome. And so what I am obviously nervous about is we know how this goes. Kenny disagreed with this last week, and Kenny will be back We'll see if he's either facing the music or we're talking about an extended playoff run.
Is he on the teacup
when he
ride
comes
right
back
now?
on
Do we
Monday?
know?
I don't know where he is. I haven't
He
heard
was
from
still in
him.
the Hall of Presidents last time I looked.
He was?
Yes.
He's getting his money's worth. Apparently, him and his wife. Congratulations. She had a nice birthday milestone this week, and that's why they're at Disney. But either way.
By the way, could you ever go to Disney without your kids? I know. I'm sorry.
I've never been there in general.
Oh, I don't know how you couldn't go without your kids. I think it'd be hard.
I
would never hear the end of it for my kids for the rest of my
Ken's
life.
been not hearing the end of it from our boss, from coworkers, colleagues all across the profession. What I'm saying is, if this team just loses today, and it's an ugly scene, and the crowd that did show up is, just feeling nothing but horror. We know how that is. We've walked from these stadiums after having our teams be eliminated. It is going to be so ugly, and no one's going to mention the 15.5. No one's going to mention
I think
history.
you're dead wrong. I think you're dead wrong.
I
think
wish you'd be
people
right,
will
but I'm already seeing...
It's the greatest comeback in baseball history.
And
It doesn't
fans
matter.
will not care the moment they're eliminated.
I normally like that, and I normally would be that guy that said it, but this was something different. This was something special.
I feel like I'll be fighting a losing battle bringing it up.
But when you add in the fact that you had two guys that are in humongous trouble, and you put that in the mix in a Major League Baseball clubhouse, I mean, it is amazing that they're here today. I'm not going to sit here. I think they're winning today, and I think we're going to tomorrow. We'll see what happens.
They better win today.
But if they don't, it's not the end of the world.
Anthony,
it
is today a must-win?
Yes. Is it?
I think we can safely say it is definitely a must-win.
But go back to the 8th, right? So we're talking about Gaddis. We're talking about Zabrowski. Zabrowski comes off the hill the same way Skubal did at the bottom of the 7th after striking out the side. It was like totally pumped. Everyone's ready. Then you come out and you get Ramirez. He ends up on third base, and you're like, you know what? They survived.
I thought we were going to win.
We survived Skubal. That's what I thought exactly was going to happen. And then I don't know.
We've had some bizarre scenarios.
The whole week has been bizarre.
The last 3 weeks
How many
between
people
these two
did you
teams.
talk to that said last week felt like the 90s? Everybody I talked to
because
said that was the 90s.
Flair
all
for the
over.
dramatic.
Yes.
Because people forget, as much as they ran away in 95 with the division, how many walk-offs did they have? Like, it wasn't like it was just pulverizing the team day in and day out. They had these magical moments. Now, those magical moments were balls getting launched into the outfield and onto the streets of Cleveland. This is, a little pitter-patter here, little just try to break off anything you can, just station to station. It was what was so unfortunate yesterday is as clean as they had been playing. Yesterday was as dirty, as ugly. And I know Vogt said, hey, we thought we had some guards ball there. The reality was the errors, the mistakes, and, look, right now I haven't seen anybody that has gone after you for you saying, hey, you had no problem with Jose going on contact there.
I don't. If you're gonna win by it, you may die by it sometimes.
And that's what same thing. Rocchio with the bunt, right?
Yeah, Rocchio just didn't get a good bunt down. That's all there was to it. I didn't have a problem with him bunting.
There were people that were furious.
We had one ball out of the infield all day. So what? Take an infield hit. It didn't hurt us. No one was mad about it the other day. No one got mad when they were able to beat him with infield baseball, guards ball, whatever, small ball, whatever you want to call it.
That's what I said yesterday on social media. Yeah. I said that was the only way we've gotten to this dude was bunting last week. That was the only way we got to him.
I'm checking. Does a bunt count as a hit if you get to first base? Yeah. It's the same as hitting one all the way to the wall if you're slow.
What's crazy is you really were anytime, and it was both ways yesterday, anytime one of those balls just got fisted out there or any kind of ball that hit the ground and started bouncing, you were like, what is going to happen here? It was actually as entertaining as you could ever imagine balls not getting out of the infield could possibly be. It was crazy. And that's what's so,
that's what the aggressive base running does for you. That's why you can't kill Jose.
I know. It just, in the end, it sucked that you didn't accomplish anything with the aggressive base running.
Well, and in the end, for me, what sucks is that you played guards ball offensively, and you manufactured your run offensively off that.
Yeah.
And then you didn't play guards ball defensively, and you let balls tip off the
Tigers
tip
ball.
of your glove. And you
can't make a play at first base.
It's two tip gloves, and then Noel's foot can't stay on the base, right? He's not coordinated enough, I guess, to do that. So
can we?
CJ Kafis is not
we
making
on the same
that move.
page for this?
Kafis has to start it first
Must
today.
start it for. By the way, he's got a hit against Mize.
Yeah.
Noel's 0 for 2 against Mize.
Manzardo's got a DH today still.
Yeah, he's 1 for 5.
You've got to put the kid in. DeLauder's up for a reason. You either put him in right field. I heard people saying put him in center field too.
I saw that.
And with Valero in right field, but I think you at least put him in right field and you keep Valero in that DH role.
And we're putting Naylor behind the plate, right? Naylor's going back?
Yeah, I think you got to put Naylor behind the plate.
He has been Babe Naylor for the last month, by the way.
Look, yesterday you went.
And he's 3 for 5.
You went
3 for 8 against Mice.
You went lefty righty big time yesterday, and I've seen some big time criticisms.
Well, they got a right-handed pitcher today, and we've got a lineup full of left-handed bats.
Yeah.
All right,
it's time to do it.
So you heard the changes there. Obviously, we'll get you ready for baseball today. We've got. Once again, our complete coverage leading up to first pitch today at 1:08. Game 2 is quite literally win or go home. And don't forget, 10:25 today, Kevin Stefanski will talk. Today is Wednesday, so what? They're finishing practice and then getting the hell out of the country.
Intrigue Wednesday.
It's a little different timeline today because they're leaving, but they'll talk earlier than normal.
Will the decision be made officially? I saw RG3 was out there saying his sources.
Yeah.
I saw a guy I'd never heard of at CBS.
We're kind of just worrying about the offense right now.
Well, we will find out. Will we find out definitively? Most likely today. If there's going to be a move, I'd like to think that everybody's going to be on board with that today. The question is, does it make sense? And at least one national reporter says, hey, that was not on Flacco last week. You'll hear from him, and we'll get into it next here on Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. Anthony Lima for Diamonds Direct at the corner of
some miscommunication. The other one, I believe it was Jerry Jeudy fell down, right? Like, so, I think it sort of rides on where your priorities are and, how close Dylan Gabriel has looked to Joe Flacco in practice. Because you're still at a point of the season where you have to do what's best for the team to keep the guys engaged. So, to me, it really boils down to, can you sell Dylan Gabriel to the team? And a lot of that's going to ride on what you've seen in practice. And if you can, then maybe it's time to see if he can give you a spark.
That was Albert Breer yesterday on Afternoon Drive. He is not so sure that going to Dylan Gabriel is going to make sense this week with everything surrounding the trip and the game against the Vikings coming up on Sunday very early. We talk about early start times for the Guardians, even earlier for the Cleveland Browns this week. We'll hear from Kevin Stefanski, who at this point, we are expecting a decision either way. 10:25 at least he is scheduled, but you better be listening the entire 10 o'clock hour to roll with the punches. Anthony Lima, Andy Baskin is in for Ken Carmen
I wanted
today.
to get in before Kevin Stefanski. That's why. I figured I'd come to work early and do that.
I know you're bummed we won't have the press conference during the show for once. But
you guys are just so jealous that we run. First of all,
I am. Menigan
hates the fact that we run press conferences.
Oh, he does
he despises it. Like if
just eating into your content.
Yes, to me, Jeff and I sit and listen, and that's what we do. That's what we are.
Well, do you think today we will actually get something from Kevin Stefanski? Because the rumors are out there. RG3, CBS Sports. A lot of people are talking about sources.
Anthony, that's a great question, and I respect the fact that you're asking that question at this time because a lot of good questions get asked at 7:04 in the morning, and really, it's about the big picture. It's about the offensive line. It's about the wide receivers. It's about the tight ends. And, of course, it's on us. It's on the coaches. So, that's my answer for your quarterback.
We got to fill out a lineup card here at some point. So what's it going to be?
Well, let me the media relations staff will take whoever they put. That's not my depth chart.
Well, either way, we're going to get it broken to us. I mean, agents tell
How about just
reporters,
say it the other day? By the way, our lads already has them flipped.
They do?
Our lads has Dylan Gabriel as the starting quarterback this week.
Yeah, this is typically how it goes. The Browns are very late to the party. They think there's a strategic advantage. This is the one week I could actually say maybe there is because nobody has seen
Let me ask you,
Gabriel.
Is this the good week to do it? Look, the team is out of town.
So I said no. I'll just tell you.
Going to the Greenbrier.
I will tell you. I said no. I did not think this was the week to do it. And then you get into, well, then next week's not the week to do it because they're going to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's coming off a bye, right? They haven't won there in how many years? I feel like this is a weird week to be doing this. I didn't think, but I'm going to be out there on a limb. I did not think Joe Flacco was anywhere near as bad as I think the Cleveland fans made it.
I'm on the same page as you, and I truly think that Kevin would start him for all 17 games this year if he could.
Which doesn't make sense either.
But I'm saying, I think Kevin trusts him. The question is, and I've heard this before, and I've heard owners of this franchise, previous owners, that have questioned why they were paying for someone to be on the team when they weren't out on the field. And I don't know if that's the same case here, but at some point you have to ask yourself, we're 1-3, where are we going with this thing, and how far can we get, and how far is Joe going to get? And I agree with you. I'm not at the point where I'm like, okay, Joe just needs to go. But the question is, if Joe isn't the number 2 quarterback this week, I'm just throw this at you, then why wouldn't you just release him?
I do think he'd be the number 2 quarterback.
Okay, I'm just saying if he's not though, and you're moving Shador into the mix.
I mean, if Dylan Gabriel
or Bailey Zappi,
if Dylan Gabriel at his 5'9", slight stature, if he gets crushed, by the way, Joe Flacco, had he have played last game, Dylan Gabriel, I think there would have been 7 sacks. I don't know if he would have left the game standing the way Flacco did. Flacco stood in the pocket and took hits and made throws and put the ball in many ways on receivers' hands. Was he a little late at times? Sure. He was the most pressured quarterback in the league last week, and I am not.
He's playing with 3/5 of an offensive line.
And I am not going to make
by the way, is Cam Robinson starting this week?
I doubt it.
Are you going to start Cam Robinson?
That's rough. That's tough spot.
Is he better than KT Leviston?
Yeah, he's better.
Well, then you're going to start him.
And he's not good either, but he's better.
And they didn't seem ready to put Mumford out there last week, so.
I'd rather have his sons at this point.
I'd like to see him play. Look, I think they are in a really, really tough spot, and I get it. At 1-3, it's easy to, make it seem like the season is over. Look at the AFC North. And I know, did I pick them to go to the playoffs? No. Do I think that's a very fat chance? Yes, I do.
Who are you starting this week?
Hold on. What I told you, I'd start Joe Flacco.
Who are you starting this week?
I'd start Gabriel.
There's a part of me. I would probably start Flacco and bring Gabriel in. Well, at some point, I'm bringing him in.
I said, and you brought up, Anthony, that you thought Gabriel would get hit 7 times and Flacco stood in there. I think that's the problem. Flacco stood in there, and I thought they needed to try to push the pace outside of the pocket somewhere. Right?
Which is the argument.
I'm not going to say that's good football either, and I'm not saying I want Dylan Gabriel because I like Dylan Gabriel. I just don't like what I'm currently seeing with the offense right now.
You want to go to the bullpen, right?
I just want to see something different.
You want to go to the bullpen.
I want to see.
You think your starter isn't doing a good enough job, and you think you got a chance to win this game? I like that.
I want to see a different strategy. I want to see them try something different than stick with what I know has not worked offensively to score points.
Yeah,
they're not scoring points.
Admittedly, I'm not a big fan of Dylan Gabriel at all. I did not understand the draft pick. I did not understand, we're trying to find our backup quarterback in the future before we find our quarterback. Right. That never made sense to me. And then they took Shador, which was exciting, but made no sense either. And then they went with 4 quarterbacks in camp. We've litigated that to death. None of that made sense.
It all seems very bad right now, doesn't it?
It was stupid, unless Dylan Gabriel ends up being really good,
right.
Which, when are they going to find that out? To your argument, it has to happen eventually.
None of us think they're doing anything with this season of merit, right? As far as where their record will stand or if they're even going to be a playoff contender or whatever, right? So why not get some answers? Let's start getting some answers. We're not getting answers with Joe Flacco.
I think people are definitely going to be on your side of the coin on this, like perhaps Patrick and Hudson. Congratulations on your success. A world-class local television outlet that I have worked for in recent weeks. Go ahead, Patrick. How are you?
Thank you. Good morning, gentlemen.
What does that have to do with Hudson?
I mean, come on, it's Hudson.
Where the trucks are parked.
Oh, the trucks are parked out there? Okay.
Yeah, we got one logical man here on the radio this morning. I don't know what you guys are talking about. The only logical answer at this point is Gabriel. I know that our tackle situation is horrible. I know that our receivers are dropping passes.
And not getting open, by the way. Least separation in the NFL, according to PFF.
Well, who's the logical one? So we're good there.
Who's logical?
Is
it me or you?
There was a play in that Lions game where Myles Garrett was rushing Jared Goff, and he just stepped up, made a side move, and then got rid of the ball. I'm not saying that Gabriel is the answer, but Joe Flacco is so limited on offense. He has 1,000-pound feet. He is incapable of avoiding a pass rush. If you're starting a veteran and he's giving you no benefits of starting a veteran with his knowledge and experience, how do you not play the rookie that?
Well, the benefits were that he was putting it on receivers' hands, and I don't know that Dylan Gabriel is going to do that when he's under pressure. I don't know if everybody's talking to me like he's Michael Vick or Lamar Jackson. He's a 3rd-round pick that was overdrafted. Like, who do you guys? Let me ask you, Patrick. Who do you think that Dylan Gabriel is? Is he Cam Ward? Cam Ward was taken number 1 overall and has looked worse than Joe Flacco. Not much worse, but he's looked worse. Like, what do you think Dylan Gabriel is going to look like with bad offensive line play and receivers that don't get open?
I think that their entire offensive scheme will be bootleg. Dude, get out of the pocket. Our offensive line can't give you a pocket to work with, so you need to get out of the pocket. Avoid a pass rush.
I do agree with you.
And Flacco can't. Right. And then Flacco can't do that. He just can't move. And I know that we're talking about the receivers dropping the ball, but I think that we have it in our heads because we have that huge Harold Fannin drop. We have the big Judy drops. Flacco he's not putting the ball on the money every time now. Like, it's not like we're talking about he's having like a 90%.
It's not like he looks like he did the last time he was here.
No,
that's exactly what you're saying.
Patrick,
he doesn't look the same.
Patrick, I will agree with you a couple of things. The rollouts that they have tried with Joe Flacco, they haven't fooled anybody. Guys have been in his face as he's delivering. So maybe the thought is if they can really commit to the run with Judkins, and hopefully this is the week that they can bust out some nice runs, that could get the play action game working. The only thing I've seen over time, and even with Baker, that rollout game that worked so well at the start of Baker's career, by year 4, defenses were onto it. not only were the safety valves not open, he was getting blitz. And look, he's going up against one of the architects of the most aggressive blitzing schemes in the league in Flores. And it's a weird week. It's a weird week to try to get ready. I know everybody wants to say, well, he's quarterbacked 60-some games in college. That means he's ready. Guys, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't mean you're ready for the NFL. The NFL is a different animal.
This is just to kind of back what you're saying. I don't know that I agree. I kind of want to see Gabriel start this week too.
And I think it's looking like
kind
you
of
will.
want to see it. And I'm not expecting anything. And if they go 3 and out the first 4 times they go down, I'm not going to be surprised. Because I don't know if that would have been any different if Flacco starts the game or not. But the non-mobile aspect of Joe Flacco's name kind of drives me nuts because no one Tom Brady had guys to throw to. Tom Brady wasn't moving out of the pocket. I'm not saying that Flacco is Brady. Trust me,
yeah,
please
he's not shifting in the pocket.
No.
The caller was referencing Goff.
Like Roethlisberger wasn't exactly moving in the pocket in his later years when they were having a little bit of success while he was still there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like there have been quarterbacks in this league that have been successful early in their career that have transitioned into this phase where they don't have to move very much and can still win. We're just not seeing the victories, and the defense is giving you the effort enough to get there. Again, you start every game with 3/5 of an offensive line, and your wide receiving core just is not up to par. Your tight ends are, though. I will say that.
All right, coming up in 30 minutes, your chance to win thanks to 2-second trivia.
Yeah, Mr. Hero.
Mr. Hero.
Trivia.
And Andy Baskin is going to be running the ship today in for Ken Carmen. So your chance to load him up. And when we come back, all right, it seems like everybody thinks there's going to be a move made for Dylan Gabriel, but what does it mean for the coach? Does it start the clock? Are we going to hold people accountable for what happens? Just what is this year all about? That's coming up straight ahead. Plus, as things start to leak out when it comes to the Guardians and their lineup, yesterday came out at 10:30. We'll see if there are any developments there. Some of that stuff might start to leak out. It's win or go home for the Guardians game 2. We get you ready for that. All straight ahead. Plus, don't forget Matt Underwood. Guardians TV at 9 o'clock. All here on Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. XTEND.
rookie Dylan Gabriel this Sunday against the Vikings. Browns back on the practice field today. Last workout before the team heads to London. Perhaps we'll get an answer to what's going on later on this morning. 10:25. Going to hear from head coach Kevin Stefanski live here on 92.3 The Fan. Can now find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Get the best content from our shows each and every weekday. That's 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
All right, we've got 2-second trivia coming up in 20 minutes because we got to try to have some fun.
I have to be like what?
You're going to be the game show.
Like cheesy game show host,
you're
right?
going to be Chuck Woolery.
Ken does he tries to play the role.
You're going to do Chuck Woolery without the politics.
Or do you feel like that's Ken all the time?
No. Put extra politics.
But more politics? Yeah. I didn't know. Well, Chuck Woolery, I mean, he gives you as much as you possibly can. I see him on those OAN hits. Anyway, Andy Baskin in for Ken Carmen today. We've got Owen. We've got Mitch. By the way, Guardians are favorite. They favored today. They are the favorites
let's go.
Today. So
they do get the last at bat, don't they?
Well, they had that yesterday.
Yeah, they did.
We got caught in the last rundown.
It was a one pitch pop.
Are we going to see more
lot of pressure
today?
Yes, let's see more.
I hope he starts. He better be the guy on first base.
We are
today.
so I thought this day was going to start off really rough because we were both kind of. I don't know if you were in a bad mood when you walked in, or I was.
I'm never in a bad mood to be here. I love it.
I thought you were in a bad mood when I walked in the door, but I'm just saying when I came in.
Normally it's Owen and Ken, or it's Ken versus Mitch, or
I haven't
Owen
been on this
versus
show
Mitch,
forever.
or Lima versus
Texas
Mitch,
strap match on Thursday,
or Gentui versus Mitch, or Tim Richards versus Mitch.
Wow,
they bring them all in. It's a cast of characters. Diane comes back and yells at Mitch.
It's a big handicap match.
I was trying to figure out which day would be the worst day of the week for me because yesterday I had a colonoscopy and today I had to be on this show. So I was just trying to figure out what the difference was.
Just really quick.
Congratulations on all your success.
Thank you. Thank you very Dr. Sullivan, thank you very much. Job well done.
Was that the Dana White one?
That was the Dana White one.
So you've had 3 of these now, and you asked me if I've had one yet, which I haven't, but I'm getting close to the age where I probably should have one.
Probably should, yeah.
So the stuff you have to drink.
Yeah, that's the bad stuff.
How bad
they
was
do have, you can take pills, too, if you want to, but I guess
why isn't everybody doing that?
Because you got to take a ton of them. That's what I was told.
I feel like that's going to be bad for your liver and kidneys.
And you don't think that Anthony Lima hasn't taken a ton of pills in his life already?
That's a good point, too.
Can I take the pills in other areas? Can I smash them up? Whatever, regardless.
It wasn't really that bad. The hard part for me was... you guys are killing me. The hard part for me was I can't, drink a full glass of it, like an 8-ounce glass. Yeah. I can't do it. And so what I was doing yesterday, my kids were laughing at me, and my wife was laughing at me, too. I pulled out the shot glass... And I was doing 5 shots at a time.
Okay.
So you just get an ounce at a time. And
how's the gag reflex, Baskin?
It was good. I didn't have any problems on the shot.
Okay.
I kept saying to myself, Rumplemints.
Can you cut it with anything?
Done? Yeah, lime flavor, lemon flavor, whatever that stuff was.
And you couldn't eat for how many hours?
I don't know, 6 o'clock the night before?
That is brutal.
You just have to make sure you're near a restroom, that's all.
Okay. And the actual process of it?
Nothing. Best sleep I've had in days. Weeks, months.
Okay. All cleaned out?
Yeah. It's the same. Unfortunately, it's the same stuff Michael Jackson had.
Yeah.
Right? So, I felt...
Just had a little too much of it.
Yeah. And...
get a better doctor and you're fine.
I don't... Shout out to the anesthesiologist. I don't remember a whole lot because she just said, just breathe. And I was like... And I was out, man. Next thing you know, you roll over. You're like, oh, my God.
And what'd you feel when you woke up?
Just grog. I felt a little. I gotta be honest. I felt a little tipsy.
You didn't feel violated or anything?
No, I didn't feel violated. I was like, everybody in the house getting tipsy. I started singing. I was trying to get people raise the roof in the place, and no one was on board.
And
then again, I was probably the youngest person in there too. So
yeah, I've never had surgery, so I've never had anesthesia. I've never had any of that stuff. Nothing.
You've never even had stitches?
Never had stitches.
Wow.
So all this is going to be very. I didn't call it surgery when I, got everything taken care of down there.
Yeah, that's an outpatient procedure.
I don't feel like that's surgery.
It's just so weird how some people are so they can especially with stitches, right? So when I was a kid, my leg ended up being the end of someone's skate out at North Olmsted.
Oh my God.
And all of a sudden I looked down and I was like, man, my leg, my body's kind of cold because of the ring. And I looked down and my skate was just full of blood. And I'm like, whoa. And so all of a sudden, I looked at the coach and he was like, we need to get you off. So I ended up going, I think I went to Southwest. They did a great job, but I couldn't watch My brother was sitting at the rest of soul. My brother was sitting at the end of the thing, and he was like, "Man, you got to watch this, Andy. This is great. They're picking rust out of your leg from the kid's skate. Blah blah blah."
This is how Ken Carmen's career ended as well. But he put his thumb up in the air.
Did you do a tomahawk chop as they brought you off the ice?
No, I
Ken
didn't.
did that.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, no. But then Tropical Storm got in a little bit of a fender bender. I'll just leave it at that. And it was a little bit more than that. But he ended up, he had to have stitches on his hand. And I was with him when we went to the hospital. He watched him. He was watching it was a nurse that did the stitches. She was awesome. You can't even tell that he had stitches. It was so good. But he sat there and he was watching the whole thing. And I'm like, how can you watch this thing?
Yeah, I think I get a little queasy. I don't think that would work out too well for me.
But stitches are 10 times worse than a colonoscopy. I can tell you that.
What age do I have to get this?
They're saying 45 now. That's what I heard. 45.
Okay, happy birthday to me coming up in June.
And I'm a year after that. So.
All right, Owen. Ken always wanted to get the vasectomy together. Do you want to do this together?
We might as well.
We'll chug the night before.
Okay.
All right.
Can I get my drink in a cardboard box with a twist off top? We'll walk around the Progressive Field and do it.
Early in the days of the station.
11% water?
The Poobah, our former boss, had a great idea for promotion where you would, if anyone needed a vasectomy, they would take Thursday and Friday off during the NCAA tournament and have pizzas get delivered. Wanted to do a whole contest on it. You get
and we never ended up we couldn't coordinate it with Ken because Ken then was like, I'm not getting it.
Do the show
then he almost had an oopsie. And then he's like, all right, now I absolutely have to do this.
So he didn't want to wait?
There was a moment we absolutely thought, everybody here thought he was having a fourth. And then that didn't happen, and he got cut up instead.
Wow.
All right, 216-474-0092.
Yesterday's loss or colonoscopy? What was worse?
Well, you guys are all getting support from the YouTube, from the listeners, from people on social media, because Owen said just make the change. Not even Owen almost sounded defeated. You're like, just make the change.
Yeah, I'm not doing it because I'm excited about what the change brings.
And you said make the change?
I just say make it because I can understand it. At this point, I just kind of understand. It's not that I personally like Flacco. I can see the rationale that Albert Breer had about the passes. And by the way, I thought you made a great argument the other day about Flacco and where he's at. And I texted you at one point, too, during the show the other day when you were on with Daryl. And I was like, okay, these are all good points. I don't have any ill will towards Flacco. It's not that I don't want to see. I feel like if Flacco had better wide receivers and a better offensive line, this whole thing they easily should be 2-2, right?
I am getting crushed, and people think it's because I want to spend time with Joe Flacco. Guys, he's one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. We knew that going into the season. 2 years ago, let's be honest, the playoff run was an all-time mirage. It was awesome. It was incredible. How could you not have fun? But when you look at the competition and the teams he went up against, I actually thought he played good in the first half against Houston. And I thought the defense let him down in the first half, and then he pressed and he throws interceptions.
The mistakes just are absolute.
He's always going to make them,
mistakes.
and he's always made them.
But I'll ask you, so we'll go back to 2 years ago. Did he win you games or did he not lose you games? Because those are two different things.
Oh, I thought he was
going out and winning you games, right?
Can he do that now?
Yeah, it doesn't look like he's capable of doing that, especially with the team that's around him right now.
Tell me you didn't enjoy the fact that you had a quarterback that could throw for 300 yards. Yeah. I mean, that was must-see TV. Anything compared to what we're watching now.
I thought he looked good in the opener against Cincinnati. I know it was a lot of underneath stuff, but I think that was part of the game plan.
It was ball control, right? They had the ball for 16 minutes or something in the first half. That's and one of the first drive took 30 actual minutes. It was 9 minutes of game time, but it was 36 minutes of actual real time, right? Where they just kept the ball, kept the defense fresh, kept the Cincinnati defense on the field, right? And it gave us a chance to be able to get after Joe Burrow in the second half. You're not seeing that anymore. That was a one-time deal.
What if they were 1-3 and it started Gabriel in the beginning of the season and Flacco was coming up? Would you want to see Flacco this week?
No, I don't. I think at that point,
and the scores are all still the same,
and everything's exactly the same.
I don't think so. I think because then I think there'd be an acknowledgement about what this season is. Anyway.
I think you'd be looking at Gabriel saying, "Oh, this is kind of Troy Aikman who had to live through that first season of pain and despair in Dallas." And let's see, because they're close. I think you would judge
Yeah, Troy Aikman's a first-round pick.
No, I know. But you know what I'm saying? Remember how Dallas went through that first year of struggles?
Yeah.
So there's something that we cannot quantify. We're not in the locker room, and I think this is going to be a big question for the organization. And maybe they've already made the move because, stuff is starting to trickle out here. So maybe they feel like they have the locker room's go ahead on this. But
you think they care?
I do think they care. I do think they care because the minute you do this, I know Daryl had said a few weeks ago, there's no looking back. That's the end of Flacco. I mean, whatever. I don't even care about that. The minute you make this move, I do think there's an acknowledgement. Like when you're playing a overdrafted third-round quarterback that has the profile of Dylan Gabriel, I do think there's the likelihood that there are some guys in the locker room going, well, that's it for this season. Even though Flacco was playing bad, I still think there's a professionalism and there's a veteran that was still making throws and taking big hits and putting him. I mean, normally guys at the end of Flacco's career, like Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to get hit. Tom Brady didn't want to get hit at the end. Flacco was sitting in the pocket, taking some of the biggest hits you will ever see. Most pressured quarterback last week.
Are you going to feel like this is wasted breath, though?
I think the veterans respected that.
Yeah.
Out of Joe, and some of them were here for the playoff game, a couple of years ago, and saw them make that move. And I still think the Joel Batonios of the world, I think the Wyatt Tellers of the world are like, at least we know where Joe Flacco's going to be. The minute you go to a rookie who's just going to take off, he's just going to take off. I think there are some veterans who are going to be like, all right, what do I really do? I want to just take care of myself the rest of the year, make sure that I'm going to live to see another day, because they've seen Browns players especially. And guys like, we had Greco on who talks about what it is on a bad football team when you go to a backup quarterback, especially a rookie. Some guys are going to start making business decisions. Some guys are going to start to think, well, this season's not about success now. It's about evaluating.
Sure.
And maybe that's what it always was about for logical people, but football players are not logical.
You're going to say that
they
at
all
the
think
end
they
of
can
the
win the
season.
Super Bowl at the start of the year.
Here's the one thing I will say about Flacco. And, we've been around this for our entire lives. And I was told point blank, that the locker room was never better than when it was during that 4-game stretch with Flacco in charge. Like, that was the best it's been since '99, since they've come back. That it was galvanized. The guys were all in it to win it. That the petty stuff, the drama, all that stuff was gone. And that they trusted, everybody trusted Joe. He was the best thing that ever happened to that locker room. And, when the team walked away from that last year and let him go to Indy, right, that's the team itself, because they didn't want the competition with Deshaun.
Right. No, they don't want that at all.
Inherently, that's like, why wouldn't you have brought Joe back last year? And so now you're in this kind of weird situation, limbo, of trying to figure out where you're going next year with this. And
now, I've heard a lot of people say Joe is washed. But what does that mean that he's washed? Is it that is he any slower than he was 2 years ago? I think to me, he's the same guy. The offensive line's been worse. Your tackles have been worse. Guys, what do you think it looks like when your tackles are getting beat right off the line of scrimmage? Same thing happened to Browning in Cincinnati, by the way. They keep showing the same cut up of like 3 plays where instantly the tackles are getting beat. If you have a mobile quarterback, he can just take off and run. How long do you think that lasts? That just doesn't work in this league.
No, it's not. They're going to figure it out. It's not. I think here's the hardest part, right? The defense is a good defense. And so now you're sitting with a bad offense. And you're saying, well, we just wasted a year of this defense. We just wasted. Look at the numbers
Miles
other teams
Garrett's
are putting
prime.
up against, right?
Denzel Ward.
And by the way, the Ravens are 1-3. The Steelers are 3-1. Is that going to?
And it's luck.
Yeah,
honestly, and it's turnover differential.
That's the hardest part of this whole thing, is that you have a defense I think is good enough to win the AFC North, but you don't have an offense that can help you do that. And by the way, your special teams have been pretty much garbage.
They've been
for
terrible,
all but one
except
game.
for one game. All right, Freddie and Parma, go ahead. What's up, man?
Hey, man.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey.
I think we got to start Gabriel or Shador. I mean, I'm watching the game with my girlfriend last week, and she's like, "Is the TV in slow motion when Flacco was running?" I go, "No, this is live action." And listen, I just checked Shador's page. He posted on Instagram, and he has a Billie Eilish song, very depressing. Once he starts playing, we're going to have to administer Prozac at halftime. I mean, he's getting sad down in Cleveland, man. And
Billie Eilish is one of the crooners of our day.
She's great. She's great. It was a sad song. But I had a dream last night.
Acquired taste.
It was Shador Gabriel holding the Lombardi Trophy, and they go, "Where do you want to go, Shador?" He goes, "I want to go to Disney with Ken Carman." I hope you guys have a good morning.
Thank you, Freddie.
And then his
Coming
wife
in
woke
hot.
him up and said, "What's your girlfriend doing here?"
Yeah, why is she here? What's
going
on
with that? I don't
Wait
understand.
a second. Are we in Chagrin Falls?
Reckless speculation.
All right, your chance to win Mr. Hero 2-second trivia.
2-second trivia.
We will have Andy Baskin running the show. This could be a disaster. Could be amazing.
It'll be the crooning host, Andy Baskin, who's going to sing you in.
Could Carmen get Wally pipped? Coming up for 2-second trivia. And when we get to the top of the hour at 8 o'clock, what about Stefanski's job? Is Stefanski's job at stake? He's had some of the worst quarterback play over the last 4 years with one exception, one stretch of games. If this goes bad, what does that mean for him? One national reporter says he's not going anywhere. That, and we get you ready for Guardians win or go home game 2 of the Wild Cards today. That gets going at 1:08. All straight ahead here on Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. All right, are you paying attention to the mortgage rates? Are you paying attention to the interest rates? What is that?
insulation. Call Home Genius Exteriors at 855, the letter U, the letter R, Genius. See website for details.
An accident 90 east at Warren has the left lane blocked with heavy congestion from Columbia. Slowdowns eastbound on 480 from 252 to Grayton. This is Joe Checkeye for 92.3 The Fan.
The best Guardians coverage is right here on Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan. You have 2 seconds and only 2 seconds to win. This is 2-second trivia.
Oh, yeah. Hey, kids, guess what? Your old friend Ken Carbon not here.
Oh, my
God. But if you want to play 2-second trivia, you can line up now at 216-474-0092. You know that number. It's in your contacts. 216-474-0092 for a chance to win, my friends, a 4-pack of Mr. Hero combo meals. Oh, when you're hungry, you need Mr. Hero. Mr. Hero has 9 different sidekicks to choose from. Just like I'm Anthony.
9?
I am Anthony's sidekick today. You have 9 different ones at Mr. Hero. Try the fantastic pepperoni and cheese bites. Oh, yeah. Fried pickles, you got them. Breaded mushrooms, and so much more. Plus, now introducing the loaded potato wafers, piled with cheese, cheddar cheese sauce. That's what that is. Ranch, bacon, and chives. Ladies and gentlemen, 2-second trivia is here for your taking. All you need to do is call that number. You know it. 216-474-0092.
All right, today.
How am I doing so far? Okay.
Oh, well, that was great. Oh, cool. And how hard do we need to make these?
I'll give them a 6 out of 100.
We're going to start out with Sean. Sean, are you ready for 2-second trivia?
Back at it like a crack addict.
All right, here we go. We will start it out. Let's get the clock going. You have 2 seconds. Who was the television play-by-play announcer for ESPN for Guardians Game 1?
Matt Underwood.
Speaking of, we will have Matt Underwood on at 9 o'clock today.
All right, he'll be coming up a little bit later. Ooh, I've got a good one if we need an extra one.
We got to drop them.
We need another. I got to drop these guys. All right, I'm on the drop. Where are we going? Peter in Brunswick. Hi, Peter. Peter?
Yeah, Todd Frazier.
We ask a new question for each and every individual. That was not correct anyway. Do we keep them on? These answering questions have not been asked, Owen.
Yes.
Is that legal?
That's the one freebie. You get one free block. That was it for the whole show. Anyone else will be
that's Guards Ball.
Dealt with.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, that's Guards Ball.
Here is your question. Which Tigers player, Northeast Ohio native and a graduate of Massillon Jackson, also alum of Ohio State?
Dylan Dingler.
Yes! He's one away, folks. All right, here we go. This is for all the marbles.
Well, all the sidekicks.
This is quick.
Okay, name one of the 2 teams set to face off in the WNBA Finals.
Oh, jeez, I don't know. I don't watch that.
I didn't ask if you watch it. There have been hockey Stanley Cup Finals I haven't watched.
Wait a minute. They're in the WNBA Finals?
Oh, yeah, that starts up.
Why? Don't you have ESPN.com? It's the lead.
It's the first 2 stories.
It is the first picture. All right.
We had playoff baseball yesterday.
Our next stop is in Warren. We welcome in Wilbur. Wilbur.
Yes, sir.
You're up.
All right.
You ready to go?
I'm ready.
Who on the Guardians pitch ran for Kyle Manzardo in the 9th inning?
Vern Fuller.
We're going to go to Wycliffe next. Matt, the pressure's on. 2-second trivia is there for you. Are you prepared?
Let's go.
Who scored the Guardians' only run in Game 1 that lost to the Tigers?
Ouch.
How many runs did we score yesterday?
1.
Yes, it wasn't that memorable.
Grab your bicycles, kids. We're going to Peninsula. Chris is up next. Although, did they
take
come
the
back?
train there?
They get on the train. It's time to go to Peninsula.
Is that
for
the
Chris.
one with alcohol that I can bring the kids on?
Yes.
Yeah, you can let them conduct,
That thing sold out so fast last year.
Well, especially if you do the Christmas one.
Polar
Okay,
Express.
here we go.
Chris, are you there?
Yes.
All right, pressure's on, man.
All right, big baseball fan. Chris, who is the Red Sox manager?
Oh, shoot.
Ouch. Next up, home of Brian Anderson, who will be on the afternoon show on Friday. Curtis is in Geneva.
Curtis.
Hey.
You're up, man.
All right, here we go, Curtis. You are ready to roll. 2-second trivia. How many All-Stars did the Detroit Tigers have this season?
2.
Ouch.
We made it look like they only had 2 All-Stars over the last month of the season, but they had way more than that.
I don't know. Sitting in this seat can make you feel pretty cheesy. That's why we go to Middlefield next, and that's where Dan is our next contestant.
Rock and roll.
Go, Ben.
All right, here we go. Can you name one of the 4 MLB managers either fired or parted ways with their team within the last week?
Ron Washington.
Got it. Say no more. He was still managing?
Yeah, he's 94 years old.
Holy.
110.
All right, you ready to win the whole thing?
Ready.
Here we go. This is your Tier 2 question, making the news thanks to our friend of the show, Aditi. Which NFL coach was caught in a tense halftime interview with Aditi this past Sunday?
I'm looking at it.
Ouch.
Now look at it.
Can we let him spell Kinkabawa?
I can't even say it.
No.
All right. Let's go to Burton now. Kyle, pressure's on. Clock is ticking. You have 2 seconds to get it right. Let's go.
All right, Kyle.
All right.
Big opportunity today. How many Cy Young Awards does Scooble have?
1.
So we thought this would be the Mandela effect because we've said 2.
Oh, wait, you got it right?
He got it right.
Oh,
We've
I hung up on him.
said 2 for how long?
I just killed Kyle.
You say 2 every week, and Kyle got it right. Kyle, you got to call back.
I've gotten it
Kyle,
wrong.
call back.
Oh, he left.
No, I
punched it out.
I heard I was listening for the buzzer, and
I
I
thought they had 2 as well.
No, I actually I heard the buzzer. I wasn't really listening for the answer.
buzzer
I'm
is for
sorry.
the time.
Oh.
This is for.
Oh man!
Do I have to ask a diabolical question while we wait for Kyle to come back? I got one
No,
ready to go.
I've got one for you too.
I've got one. Do we have him back?
He'll be
Is that
back in a
back
second.
yet.
Okay.
Here he comes.
Diabolical question. Would you rather have a guaranteed win with Joe Flacco on Sunday in London?
Okay.
Or go with potluck, whatever's behind door number 2 with Dylan Gabriel? Diabolical question. Come on, this is easy.
I almost said a cuss word on air.
This is easy. Come
That's
on.
a bleepy question.
Why is that not a good question?
Because I don't want to see Joe Flacco anymore.
So you don't want a guaranteed win to get you to 2-3 with what's going on in this North. You've got Baltimore, 7 starters on defense were out last week. Their highest 5 players, paid players, highest 5 did not finish the game last week. Burrow's out. Cincinnati's done for. They're going to fire their coach. Pittsburgh is a mirage through the first 4 weeks.
Yes.
You're not taking a guaranteed Joe Flacco when we have Kyle back on the air.
Hang on.
We put that question to bed.
Hang up on Kyle.
My bad, Kyle. My bad.
Kyle.
Very hurtful, Andy. Very hurtful.
Sorry, man. You have a free pass from the midday show for a week if you need it. Go ahead. All right.
All right, here we go. How many All-Stars did the Guardians have this season?
2.
Yes! Yes!
Do not hang up on this man.
I did not hang up on
I
him.
thought it'd be a good bit to hang up on him again. Corey, excited about Mr. Hero?
Should I tell him what he's won?
Yes, you must tell him.
Let me tell you what you've won. You've won a 4-pack of Mr. Hero combo meals. Mr. Hero has 9 different sidekicks to choose from. Am I going through this again?
Yeah.
Yes? Try the pepperoni and cheese bites, fried pickles, breaded mushrooms, and more. And they now introduce loaded potato wafers piled with cheddar, cheese, ranch, bacon, and chives. I'm not even. I'm gonna leave him up. You put him on hold.
Yeah,
I'm good. I'm not.
Wow,
gonna mess with it.
congratulations, man.
Good
Kyle's
job.
on hold. He's gone. He's
All right,
on
he's
hold.
good.
Way to get
Mitch
back
has
in,
it now.
but now I got people reacting to my diabolical question
I don't
on
like it.
YouTube.
Wait, I had a much better diabolical question.
Well, it
because-
doesn't matter. We've moved on.
Yeah, we got to move on. Maybe save that for the end of the show.
I'm just going to still ask you anyway.
Do we want to fire people up with it coming in hot at the end of the show today to get people ready for the game?
It has, if it's a Guardian specific.
Yes.
Yeah.
Guardian specific coming in
You will
hot.
get kicked if you don't do Guardian specific.
9:45. Look, Ken.
That's fair.
Ken is a curmudgeon.
Gabe, listen up. You can't do other things other than Guardians specific.
I don't want to hear about any political figures. This is Guards ball today.
I was all into this game show thing, and then I messed that up. I feel horrible about that, but he came back and won. Then I was going to go into this whole rant about Rolf Panerska and Aaron Rodgers and Bert Convoy. Then I was going to ask you can answer this when we come back. Peter Marshall from the Hollywood Squares. His son, who played Major League Baseball, was who? I'll let you answer that, right. Anthony, when we come back.
All right, that and... I'm not going to do the diabolical question. People are telling me to do... I'm doing a Ken Carmen right now. I'm not going to do the diabolical question. Okay, people are telling me that. Okay, do you want a guaranteed win with Joe Flacco, or do you want a potluck what's behind door number 2 with Dylan Gabriel? Straight ahead, plus we get you ready for Guardians today. Matt Underwood, 9 o'clock here on Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. Anthony Lima 4, Diamonds Direct at the corner of Richmond and Cedar Road. Make an appointment right now. If you want to get there over the next few weeks, you have got to think about meeting up with Don and his entire crew over at Diamonds Direct. What's different about Diamonds Direct? Well, the first thing is
weeknights 11 to midnight. All the best segments from all our shows, you can always listen on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
All the Browns and NFL news you may have missed at work. The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. 92.3 The Fan.
All right, people on the YouTube are firing on all cylinders. It's amazing how the YouTube reaction, no matter what we're talking about on the radio or on our stream, YouTube is having a very different conversation every single day. And it's about Shedeur Sanders. It's absolutely incredible. We just had 2-second trivia. Andy Baskin is in for Ken Carman.
Yes.
And we will have what this show believes to be the powerhouse lineup that will get it done today against Detroit to save the season and to perhaps make history again. We will do that.
In a game that I'm calling a must-win.
You are calling it a must-win.
Man, you are just like rebel radio with that kind of stuff.
Oh, and you're putting a lot of pressure on him. That's what I'm worried about.
I left you with a trivia question before we went to break, and I know you didn't look it up.
Do you want to go ahead and ask that again real quick?
Do you know the answer?
I don't know the question.
Do you know the answer to this?
I don't know the question.
Okay,
What's
so
the
I went through this whole thing about how, I was excited to be a part of the game show.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about the great Ralph Benershka.
Ask it again.
Who tried to come in and do Wheel of Fortune, or Aaron Rodgers, who did Jeopardy.
Yes.
And then it reminded me of the great host of the old Hollywood Squares, Peter Marshall.
Jim J. Bullock. Oh.
That was the newer one. Peter Marshall. And Peter Marshall's son played Major League Baseball. His name? Pete Lecoq.
Pete who?
Pete Lecoq. You don't remember him? Pete played for Kansas City.
Is this a real name?
It's 100% a real name. Played for the Cubs, played for the Royals. I wouldn't get you guys in any trouble.
Is Baskin just trying
He was a .257 hitter. I think he had one home run in his entire career. No, he had more than that. No, he had more than that.
I feel like Baskin's going to ask a trivia question. The answer is going to be Dick Trickle coming up.
Oh, that would be another good one. But no. Pete Lecoq. You guys don't remember? That was actually Peter Marshall's
now.
That was Peter Marshall's real name on Hollywood Squares. Right. You guys, all I'm trying to do is add a little fun to this show.
There's no fun when your baseball team loses with 4 hits and can't get the ball.
Can't you enjoy? Look where your feet are.
And you
look at your feet.
You strand a guy. No, he wasn't even stranded. He didn't even make it. He wasn't even stranded at third base in the 9th inning. He ended up getting caught in a rundown. Your best player.
Anthony Lima, I want you to listen to me, and I want you to listen to me good. Right
Go ahead.
Now. Ready?
Go ahead.
Look at your feet. Where are your feet? They're right here. You're in the playoffs. You're one game down. You come back today, you tie up the series. You can't look at today's game like it's the end of the world. You can't. You just got to figure out how to win today the way you've been doing it for the last month. I know we've turned the page. It's October now, but that doesn't matter. Play September ball. Play guards ball.
It is. It is
Your
October
feet
1st.
are here. You're in the playoffs.
That's true. We already had a September to remember. So yesterday didn't really count. Today, if we want to have an October to remember, this is when the games start to really count. Not 1 o'clock Tuesday games in front of 20,000 fans. Come on, that doesn't count. Today is the day that counts.
20,000 wasn't a bad number when you look at the entire season, right? You look at number of season ticket holders, 20,000 is not a bad number.
I will admit it surprised me a little bit.
The crowd, you thought there would be more of a crowd yesterday?
I did.
I am not surprised one bit. Major League Baseball basically put a gun to everybody's head and said, you better buy these tickets really quick because this is what's happening. And by the way, you're going to have to call off work. You're going to have to call off school. You're going to have to drop everything to come do this. We're not putting you even close to prime time. You're not even in junior prime time at 6 o'clock or 3 o'clock. You're 1 o'clock, much like your football team that plays every game at 1 o'clock too.
Well, not this week. All right, we'll get to the lineup. The shakeup that needs to go down coming up in 15 minutes. You mentioned a very, very early game coming up on Sunday, and that's even less time for Dylan Gabriel to prep. If everybody is right, that's about 3 hours less that he has to get ready in a weird week. You got to
remember, the prep is always worse than the procedure.
And you found that out the hard way.
I found that out yesterday, yes.
So Dylan Gabriel, by multiple reports, is going to be the starter this week. It surprised me a little bit. I get fans are always quicker to the quarterback change.
What if Kevin comes back today and says Joe's starting Sunday?
Well, I just assume it's not now.
I just wish all he had to do on Monday during that press conference was say, we're thinking about a change. I guess he did say we're thinking about a change at quarterback.
We just didn't commit to Joe Flacco.
It was no confidence in Joe Flacco. That's exactly what that was. If it wasn't going to be Joe Flacco, just say Dylan Gabriel on Monday. The Vikings are going to find out. They're going to have 2 more days to prepare for that.
Well, there is the thought.
It's the NFL.
I'll play devil's advocate. There is the thought that these quarterbacks are drastically different. And the only tape they're going to have on Dylan Gabriel is, a preseason game against guys who aren't in the NFL. Go back and look at the roster.
Right.
It's the Rams, right? None of those guys are in the NFL. And then they're certainly not going to look at training camp stuff. They're going to have to go back to his play in college.
Right.
Had a good game against Ohio State. Had one really good game.
Beat the national champions during the regular season.
Later on in the year, I wouldn't even argue it was really his fault, but he didn't have much of a chance. So they won't have much. So devil's advocate is it does make sense for the coach just not to really say much this week. You're not buying it.
No, I'm not. Just say it. Like I'm tired of just you come off as like you're trying to lie. Or you're trying to hide something. Like, there's no one's hiding anything. And then here's the aggravating part, right?
Well, we're going to know either way.
They have the press conference. They don't say anything. Everyone's sitting there trying to figure out if it's going to be Dylan Gabriel or if they're going to go back to Joe Flacco. Everyone's like, what did he just say? What did he just say? We're all sitting around going, well, he didn't say that Joe Flacco is going to be starting this week. So now we're all mystery. And then all of a sudden they'll spoon feed somebody else and go, well, he's not starting. And then someone breaks the story. Like, stop it. Stop breaking stories. Stop worrying about drama. If you're going to go with Dylan Gabriel, go with him. Just lean into it. Go.
When do you think their mind was made up? If they are making the change, indeed, when do you think their mind was made up? Do you think it was Sunday at halftime of that game?
I think they were contemplating it Monday, and that's actually why he didn't say anything. Because I think internally they were trying to figure out what the right move is.
Do you think they have to pull their leadership council, whatever they call it? Every team has one.
Hey, Paul DePodesta, who should we start this week? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, do they have to pull Batonio in? Do they have to pull their veterans, Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, tell them first, like, this is what we're debating?
I think it would behoove them to pull the veterans in, especially the ones that are playing well on defense.
But you want to make sure. Right, you're going to have to answer for it.
Are you going to change your mind though? If Myles Garrett says no way, you got to stay with Joe Flacco, are you really going to change your mind? Yeah, again, if you're going to make the change, you better believe in it. Go do it. If you want Dylan Gabriel to be your starting quarterback, then make him your starting quarterback. You don't need the veterans to come to your room and go, hey, guys, we're thinking about doing this. You need to tell them we're doing this. You want to be a leader, be a leader. If you want to be wishy-washy, you're going to end up with more drama, more just stuff off on the side, and you're not talking about football. You're talking about all the drama.
Kevin Stefanski is scheduled to speak at 10:25. I don't think it'll be wishy-washy. I think we will find out once and for all today. We did have
He'll come out and he'll just say, Dylan Gabriel's going to start.
Yeah. When did you guys, and all the obvious questions, when did you guys figure it out?
When we decided, we just thought we want to do this week. We can already go through the press conference. We listened to all of them. Unfortunately, you guys...
you have it down pat.
Unfortunately, you guys don't get the opportunity to play those, but we do.
Okay, we had a diabolical question. And this came, by the way, this was not my brainchild. This came straight from the boss. So... I might as well. I already let the cat out of the bag because this gives me a window into the fans, their emotions on this, and whether they can separate emotions with a real football team. Which is, if I could guarantee you, Flacco could win this week against Carson Wentz. Our defense could get after it. He was sacked 7 times. Mm-hmm. I think last week in Ireland by the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. If I could guarantee you a win with Flacco, or you get the mystery of whatever comes with Dylan Gabriel, what are you taking?
Taking a guaranteed win.
And obviously, of course that's the answer.
Yes.
But the only reason it's a diabolical question is because I think people are answering different ways. And I'm seeing it on social media already.
Can I ask you a follow-up?
Yes.
And ask you to add your own flavor into the question?
Yeah.
Do they win a 16-13 game, or do they win a 38?
Now he's got to put stipulations. It's not enough just to have the guarantee.
It's not a bad twist, though. I give you credit. That's a good twist.
I want to know, because if they go win a 16-13 game, I don't care. I still don't care about the team because the offense still hasn't shown me anything.
That was Cincinnati.
Especially if it is them getting an interception and taking it back to the 4-yard line, and then them getting a blocked field goal and being able to run a good drawn play against soft coverage and the rookie kicker making a big, long field goal. Then I've seen that already. I don't like that. I appreciate the win over Green Bay. I don't like the way that it went down. Not because that offense was atrocious.
Okay, but how did we feel?
The offense was atrocious last week.
How did we feel?
The offense was atrocious in week 1.
It was
and guess
not,
what?
It was
guess
not
what they did in week 2? They were atrocious in week 2. Yes, the offense was atrocious. They controlled the ball, and the defense gave them a chance. They tried to control the ball in the 2 big blowout losses.
Flacco had his receivers let him down in game 1, or else he would have had well over 300 yards, and his quarterback rating would have been well above average. He was good, I thought, in the Cincinnati game. I thought that was the right ball control type of game. People were like, oh, it wasn't aggressive enough. All right, well, you see what happens when he tries to get aggressive and they're losing, and that's the only thing that's available. They got receivers they can't rely on. You've got an offensive line you can't rely on, and he starts throwing picks. Okay, that's always been the Joe Flacco experience. You know what also is the experience of rookie quarterbacks that play in this league behind a bad offensive line and receivers don't get open and don't catch balls? It's a bloodbath. Last week, Flacco got sacked twice. Was it twice?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he got hit. He got touched 12 times.
And I'm telling you, it would have been so.
And you are enjoying that.
It would have been so
Stay on that train,
much
then, Anthony.
worse with a third-round 5'9" quarterback.
Stay on that train.
Who I don't think
Keep
would have
doing
made it out alive. I think he would have been carted off the field had he have faced that pass rush last week.
Cool. Then we know his fate. I don't know his fate right now.
And Aiden Hutchinson would have picked him up and body slammed him.
Dylan Gabriel thing because I'm
got banged up a little bit that game. Maybe
I'm
would have been
not
healthy
pro
enough.
Dylan Gabriel right now, but I am anti seeing the same thing for a 5th week.
Look, I can't defend what the offenses look like in general.
Yeah, because if you do, you'll look real bad.
I just agree with what Albert Breer said when he came on the afternoon show, and he's like, you guys are putting that on Flacco? Like, that's the view from outside of Cleveland. The view in Cleveland is always going to be go to the next quarterback.
Cool. I don't care about anyone outside of Cleveland. I don't care about the people outside of Cleveland.
You think the fans in Cleveland know what any of this looks like? They've seen so much bad quarterback play, they just think it's always going to be this.
That's good. Spin it on the fans now.
But that's all.
A smart
all
move.
I hear is let's move on to the next guy. Let's move on to the next guy.
It's been like that since we were born. It's not. I mean, you learn that prenatal when you're in Northeast Ohio. But the bigger question is the Shador question that's looming.
What is the Shador question?
You can't get to Shador until you go to Gabriel.
Well,
that's
right.
not going to happen.
And that's what I'm saying.
We gotta find out.
What if? Right. And what if? But here's my point.
That's
what
why
if
I don't
Gabriel,
understand why we're sticking with Flacco.
The Shador question is...
I brought this up before.
Guys,
if you're going to go to Dylan and Shador's got a chance to play at some point, why wouldn't you just let Joe go? I like Joe.
The only Shador question that anybody should be asking is, would they go to Zappy before they'd go to Shador? And I think the answer is yes. They do not want to see Shador Sanders anytime. It's why every day there's a new leak coming from that building about how unprepared he is and how he's walking around the building not doing what he's supposed to. You think the Rex Ryan thing that came out the other day just came off the top of his head and he made it up? No, that's what everybody has been hearing. Darryl Ryder sat in your seat yesterday, said the exact same thing. Shador Sanders, you guys can make it the focal point of the YouTube chat, and we appreciate all of you guys for tuning in real time. The numbers are off the charts. But YouTube, the fact that you guys are investing so much time in a guy that was the 4th string quarterback before they traded away the guy they really wanted to be the starting quarterback should tell you all you need to know. Your dude fell for a reason. There is a reason that you guys thought he was top 5 and the rest of the league thought he didn't belong in the NFL. You guys were wrong. Everybody in the NFL was right, and there's a reason they were right.
How do we know? We haven't seen him play yet.
How do we know any of these guys? Well, let's talk about all the rookies in next year's draft class.
Okay. I'm in. I'm just telling you, this fan base wants to see Shador at some point.
All right. We are getting reaction coming on in, and when we come back, we will give you the lineup that actually can pull out a win and save the season for the Guardians. Who will it be, and will it involve someone who's never played in a Major League Baseball game before? Only one way to find out. You're locked into Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. Anthony Lima for QC Kinetics, and they're
live here on 92.3 The Fan. Get all the latest Browns content filtered right to your phone during the regular season by following the Browns playlist and 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
All right, folks, our job is to not only give you the news, we give you opinions. We give you our best at trying to capture the emotions of a fan base. And I don't know if I can do it properly for today's baseball game today.
I've never seen you go into that much mental preparation before the next word that was coming out.
Well, I wanted to be very careful.
Yes, I'm transient.
I wanted to make sure.
Is that the right word?
No.
Transcendental meditation, kind of I don't know. Keep going.
You take that? You do that?
Have I in the past? Yeah.
Okay. How's that working out for you?
Not real well right now.
All right, my
Worked
mantra's
yesterday
on the wall in here.
You didn't want to give it away. Why would you give it away, man?
We got a baseball game today that is life or death, and we're going to get to it in a few seconds here. We are going to get to the lineup that will get the job done.
Oh, I'm excited.
I got to admit, I'm not nearly as optimistic as I was yesterday, which is, when you look back, it was silly to be insanely optimistic.
Yes.
When even in the victories over Scooball, it's not like they were hitting the ball hard.
They gave themselves an opportunity.
But they had an opportunity.
Detroit yesterday and get past Scooball, and they didn't take advantage of it. If you got a runner sitting at third with nobody out, you got to score. If you're the Guardians, that's must-run baseball. They had to get him in. And I sit here, midday, we debate this all the time about getting one run in. Mm-hmm. They needed to get to the tie, and then if they had to, go to extra innings, and that would have been great. But the fact they couldn't get him in is just heartbreaking, and I think people are still so mad. I didn't think there'd be people upset about the fact Ramirez took off with the pitch or was going on contact.
There seem to be two distinct camps on that. Whether or not you go on contact or whether or not you trust the most aggressive runner in all of baseball and somebody who makes so much magic happen when he's doing it. But, like that, always in baseball, it's situational. And when something doesn't work, you argue what would have happened if he hadn't done it. And what would happen now? Oh, and you said the only reason he was on third to begin with is because of his aggressiveness.
The way he runs bases, as soon as the helmet flies off, he's going to third. That's how he is. They also immediately after that had a strikeout. I don't know if you reverse the order and the ground out happens first. I think if there's no outs, maybe you're not as aggressive. But you already had one out. You know that if you don't, with one out, and even if they end up getting the out at first, right, now there's two outs, but you've at least got to play at home to maybe tie the game up. With two outs, it does you no good to have a runner at second, or at third, I'm sorry. It does no good in an aggression style. It doesn't change the way the defense plays you. It doesn't change the way the pitcher pitches if there's two outs and a runner at third. So you got to take that chance there. It was the right chance to take. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. The one thing Andy brought up, too, was maybe he should have just kept going home. That was the only thing that you could change. It was the fact that
he went back to the base. I'm like, it's like I was just saying with Gabriel. If he's your quarterback, lean into it. If you're gonna score, go. Now
I wish it was home if you're gonna get tagged out.
And I wish it was years ago where he would have had the opportunity to put his shoulder into the catcher. Those days are long gone. I miss those days. I'll be honest.
Physicality at home plate. What?
Major League Baseball, they put the ghost runner on second during the regular season. In the playoffs, you don't do it. So in the playoffs, we can go back to the old AL-NL All-Star game, and Pete Rose can drop his shoulder into a catcher. Buster Posey can take one, right?
I'm sorry. I believe I love that part of the game. I mean, I love that part of the game where you had the opportunity to knock the ball out of the catcher's glove, and that's gone. Those days are gone. I mean, we're playing T-ball baseball, the way the catchers have to set up now to try to tag somebody out at home. But again, just going back to trying to go back to the bag was just it was self-defeating. I just don't think they could have avoided the whole situation in the first place. I know when are we going to this magic lineup thing? Because I think it was just clear as day. I want Kefas to play first, and let's go. And that way, if you want Big Christmas off the bench to hit a fly ball when you got a runner at third,
right,
with nobody, then he's there for you.
Fly ball, you got to make contact.
I'm not putting my playoff. I'm not putting my playoff hopes on Noel. I'm sorry.
Well,
I'm just not.
This brings me to the question, and I figured one of you is about to say it, so I'll tee it up. To rely on somebody in a win or go home playoff game who you've never seen play a Major League Baseball game. So let's talk about the level of desperation we're all operating under, because I've heard a lot of people say DeLauder needs to play today and he needs to start.
I am one of those guys, and I would say if it was a different opponent, I might have a different thought. But the one thing, the positive and the reason that I was so hot on the Guardians making the playoffs way back when I said it was because they had 6 games in the final 2 weeks with the Detroit Tigers. Right now, the negative is they have now played the Detroit Tigers 7 times in the last 2 weeks, right? So everybody knows everybody. The thing that we brought up yesterday of like, oh, we've seen Scooble, right? Well, they've seen all our guys. They've seen all our hitters. They've seen all our pitchers. They have the charts on them. You know who they haven't seen at bat yet? And one of them was yesterday. It was Jonathan Rodriguez, and that was, a waste of time. It was a waste of everybody's time, and he let one get in as well with his poor defensive play. But they haven't seen Chase DeLauder yet either. Nobody's seen Chase DeLauder, and I'm not saying that Chase DeLauder is going to come in and immediately provide the offensive spark that we missed yesterday, but he is something that's different against a team that you've played now 7 times in the last 2 weeks.
I get everything you just said.
Yeah,
I don't know. I haven't seen him either. Just like I haven't seen Dylan Gabriel. I don't know what that's going to look like.
Have you seen John Kinsey Noel?
Yeah.
Did you like what you saw?
Yeah, obviously
Have you seen have you seen Jonathan Rodriguez?
Now Rodriguez.
Did you like what you saw?
I know the reason he played yesterday was because he had just hit a home run against his team.
Then you can go George Valera in that other spot, right? Do you like what you see out of him? I don't mind it, actually. He'd be another guy that one of those two needs to be in there. I heard some people yesterday.
Not Schneemann, though.
Schneemann's my favorite Guardian right now. That's not Jose Ramirez or Steven Kwan. But he's really struggled. He struggled in September a lot. I heard a couple people yesterday saying, well, put DeLauder in center field. I know that Zach Mizell brought up how much time they spent on Monday working defensively with him, with DeLauder in center field, and how the ball caroms off the wall, and how you're going against the green fence now instead of whatever color the fence is in Columbus. I don't know. But, I'm not that far away from it yet. I'm not saying damn the torpedoes on just be offensive minded. I think you still want Angel Martinez out there in center. And you still want a guy that, at least got on base yesterday, Martinez did. So I think one of those guys needs to change. And then Andy brought it up as well. I want to see Bo Naylor in the lineup.
He's 3 for 8 against Mize, too. He can hit him. That's
Hedges
the thing.
is great behind the plate, and Hedges took his walk yesterday. But I need to see Bo Naylor, a guy who I know is absolutely capable of getting the ball over the fence in this ballpark.
He's got 2 doubles against Mize, too.
Yeah, put him in there.
So, come on, Babe Naylor, get him in there today.
Look,
then somebody get on base and let Petey Halpin run.
Yeah, what is it about Petey Halpin?
He's really fast.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like
he runs base as well.
We're into it. I'm kind of into it too. I like the fact that they've got somebody to do that. Ramirez today, though, is your guy. He's hitting 500 against Casey Mize.
We got something special here, though, for you.
All right, we have a quarterback change officially for your Cleveland Browns. We were talking about lineup changes for the Guardians. Well, the Browns making one officially as both Adam Schefter, Tom Pelissaro, Peter Schrager. They've all come in at the same time and saying that Joe Flacco has been benched. The fans all got what they wanted. Dylan Gabriel is going to make the start on a very, very weird travel week, a road game in London, a very early start time. And with the revolving door on the offensive line, Dylan Gabriel, next man up. We wondered if Joe Flacco was going to be able to stem the tide, at least for the gauntlet of the regular season. Instead, just 4 weeks in, entering week 5, they're making the move already to Dylan Gabriel. Don't forget, you are going to be able to hear from Kevin Stefanski firsthand today, 10:25, so just short of 2 hours. But I would tune it in for the start of what normally would be Baskin and Phelps. Have it ready. Mennigan will be in
He's
as
ready.
well. And, in case they start speaking early, but we will get definitively from the head coach. But all the reporting is that Dillon Gabriel is now the starting quarterback of your Cleveland Browns. We don't know for how long, and we don't know who the backup is right now.
And by the way, that
am
question
assuming
was,
it's Joe Flacco.
Mary Kay asked that question on Monday, too. He didn't have an answer for it, just like he didn't have an answer for who the starting quarterback was. Again, I ask you, why didn't they just tell us this on Monday? Why couldn't they have just leaned into it? You've created more drama.
Browns have tweeted it out as well.
Yeah, you've created more drama than you needed to, unless you were looking to try to take some of the luster off the baseball series that's going on in town. I would hope that they wouldn't make their moves based on what else is going out in town. But again, if you're going to do it, just announce it on Monday. So the question I have is, how difficult of a decision was this for them that they weren't willing to say it on Monday? Were they debating it? Were they arguing the fact that maybe Joe should be starting? And now I just hope, if you're going to move forward, move forward. I can't wait to hear who the emergency quarterback is going to be. I'm assuming it's going to be Shedeur Sanders, but we shall see.
All right, Cameron Wolfe, national NFL reporter for the NFL Network, says that Joe Flacco will be the backup. Shedeur Sanders is QB3. That is as of now. We'll see if that is likely to change. Obviously, if something were to happen to Dillon Gabriel, I think very early on, I thought there was no chance. If that was going to be the scenario, there was no chance they were going to go to Shedeur there.
As the number 2 this week?
As the number 2.
Yeah,
so
I wouldn't do it.
I know there's been a thought that once you go away from Flacco, there's no going back.
That doesn't matter who he is. My number 3 quarterback for the first 3 weeks of the season isn't going to be my backup going into this game. If you're moving a rookie up, it has nothing to do with who he is. It's the position and his ability. Well, I guess it has something to do with, but you just don't want to put him in that spot either.
I'll be curious to see how. I know you've been making jokes about the tenor of these press conferences, but today, there are going to be a lot of pointed questions about why you think this is the right time.
You're going to get a ton of short answers.
It wasn't as if Flacco, I thought, was way worse in the previous games than he was last week. But there does come a time where you answer to the locker room, and I wonder how the locker room is feeling, and maybe. Locker room's got a lot of different voices, a lot of different demographics, a lot of different ages.
It's harder in a football locker room than anywhere else.
Much
you just got
harder.
too many people in there. Yeah.
Do you think they are unified right now in that locker room? This is very early in the season to make a quarterback change, especially to a rookie that was drafted in the 3rd round.
If you're on defense, are you unified? No, you're just extremely upset. There's other words I'd use, but I'm not. If I'm playing defense for the Browns right now, I'm like, okay, let's see what else we can do. Let's go, because we are now 1-3, and we have played 4 games. And I'll even give you the Ravens game, because the 41 shouldn't have gone against the defense. Mm-hmm. What was there, 21 points that they shouldn't have given up? If I'm the defense, I'm happy about this move, because somehow, some way, maybe the offense can try to get a little bit closer to 20 points. This offense has scored 20 points, twice in the last 22 games? Come on. They have got to be able to do better than what they've been doing. And it's not about Joe Flacco, the person. This is about having the opportunity to see somebody else play starting quarterback. And if I'm the defense, I am applauding it, because now I feel like I have new hope.
Well, new hope is what they have to sell everybody on, right? It makes sense that you're not selling this on some outrageously qualified number 1 overall draft pick, like how Baker was the number 1 overall draft pick. I know that was controversial at the time, but when he was taken number 1, there's always going to be excitement around a 1st-round draft pick with those capabilities.
Right.
Dillon Gabriel is not that. That doesn't mean, hey, Brock Purdy was what round was he? Was he the last player taken?
He's Mr. Irrelevant.
Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah.
So that doesn't mean that Dillon Gabriel can't succeed. Obviously, it's happened.
But you asked who would be disappointed, right, in the locker room? There's only 2 players that I could think that would even have a case to be disappointed, and it's the 2 tight ends. They're the only ones that could potentially stand to lose what they're getting right now.
Jerry Judy's fine with it.
Jerry Judy's fine with it. It doesn't affect Quinshon Judkins at all. Only Harold Fannin and David Njoku. And I'm not saying that it's going to go away from them. I'm just saying they're the only ones that have actually had any amount of success because of Joe Flacco right now.
Yeah, but that's also because of Kevin, too. Kevin's calling plays to tight ends.
And Flacco's the one, he's checked down into those guys a lot, and that's fine, And at least Fannin's been lining up in different spots. I'm not saying that they're going away from him. In fact, with the rookie quarterback, you still want to go find your tight ends, right? They're your safety valves. So they're the only ones that I would see right now. even the guards, even the old guards are going to say, well, let's see what else.
I have somebody else who might be a benefactor by this change that you might not even be thinking
All
about.
right,
I'll
let
tell
me
you
know.
that is.
Let me know here in a few minutes. 216-474-0092. So we have that. How are you feeling about the Browns officially making the move on a Wednesday? We'll hear from Kevin Stefanski coming up at 10:25 today. That and what does the lineup need to look like today for your Guardians to keep their season alive? We have Matt Underwood joining the show in 23 minutes. He is one of the voices of the Guards. Can't wait to hear from him. How much hope should we have? All that and so much more straight ahead on Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
5.
Listen to his reports on the station with the most local sports talk in town. 92.3 The Fan. Powered by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store. Stephen Vogt.
Of course it happened this way. We know them well, they know us well. 3 straight weeks of a early week series, and it's going to be fun. It's always fun when we play Detroit, and we're looking forward to it.
Talk about the Guardians anytime you want. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Sports Talk on the Fan, presented by Paramount Plus. Stream your local NFL games all season long, starting at just $30 for your first year, $250 a month. Visit ParamountPlus.com/NFL to get started today. And if you're doing that anywhere around the country and you tune in to the Cleveland Browns and their early Sunday game in London, you'll see Dillon Gabriel.
Kegs and eggs, right?
Come out and start the game. Yes. Then third round pick. Congratulations, rookie. Here you go. Here's your opportunity.
He got the window to be the only quarterback on TV. Well, and Carson Wentz, right? He's going to be the only one on TV at that time, so he'll definitely be featured in his first start.
And people should know, and the Browns put out a press release as well, so it's all official, that Joe Flacco is the backup this week. Shedeur Sanders is your third quarterback. Jeremy Fowler of ESPN said Gabriel's mobility and decision-making will help. Browns high on rookies Quinshon Judkins, Harold Fannin, Isaiah Bond, who can coalesce with a rookie quarterback. I still don't necessarily understand why they couldn't coalesce with a veteran. Like, what does that matter? And decision-making should help. We're basing that on what? College? Like, that to me is an
they've been
assumption.
working with him for how many months now? I mean,
sure.
He should be on the same page as the coach. I think
not in NFL games when your tackles are getting paraded around. And
they got a new one.
Yes.
That's true. Is he going to be ready on Sunday?
Cam Robinson?
Hey, nice to meet you, Cam. I'm Dillon Gabriel. I'm the third round pick of the Browns. Oh, I thought you were going in the fourth round. No, I'm a third rounder.
There is one guy he might be a little bit comfortable with and just got promoted up to the squad was Gage Larvidan, right? So maybe, I don't know. I mean, they have to put him on the field to give him the opportunity to even be out there. But if I'm Gabriel, I've probably been working with Larvidan a little bit more than I have the other receivers in practice, and I wouldn't be surprised if he has a couple catches in this game. I don't know if it'll be a difference maker, but if you're Gabriel, you might be comfortable with Larvidan.
You think they're going to throw to him enough times that he gets a couple catches?
He might get one or two. Where's he sitting? I mean, is he the number 4 wide receiver
I don't
right
know.
now?
Tillman's on IR now.
Yeah,
right?
that's why. I think they're going to have to use him. I mean, you're talking about Thrash, who's been an underachiever, who I was excited about. I mean, Larvidan is kind of taking that Thrash, even though he was a free agent and one was drafted in the 5th round, but it's kind of the same path. Thrash hasn't really done anything yet. Judy hasn't done anything that we want to talk about. Isaiah Bond has just been open and not been able to get the ball.
Well, and not only that, we're talking about like rookies can, according to Jeremy Fowler, coalesce. Here's going back to one of the central problems you had in training camp is you divvied up all the reps.
Yeah.
So if you're assuming these guys are going to hit the ground running because they've established all that chemistry, no, this is the one quarterback room where no chemistry has been established because you're running 2 different football fields at all times. And so when I was questioning the wisdom of that in the training camp, now this is where the chickens come home to roost. We'll see. Hey, could be wrong, and Dillon Gabriel could be amazing. Brock Purdy hit the ground running in game 8 or 9. All right, we have seen guys that have been drafted, below the first round get opportunities. Gardner Minshew started 14 games as a 6th round draft pick his rookie year.
That wasn't by design, though.
Good results.
And this wasn't by design either, I guess. It depends on who you're talking to on where Gabriel was going to be starting. I think the difference between those guys and Dillon Gabriel is, I think everybody around has planned on Dillon Gabriel to start at some point this year.
All right.
Nobody was planning on Purdy to start. Nobody was planning on Minshew to start.
Is there also a chance that Jack Conklin could be back? Remember, left-handed quarterback.
I thought he'd be back 4 weeks ago.
But if Jack is back, you'd feel a little bit more you'd feel more confident with a left-handed quarterback.
Yeah, well, that's a big. You're going to shift coverage. What does that mean for Brian Flores and his defense that's going to be coming after him? I think he is licking his chops. Personally, I think when he gets the news that guy, the 5'9" quarterback, is going to be starting, I think Brian Flores is like, oh, okay, all right. I think I have some things he hasn't seen before. Meanwhile,
we had Tony Romo the other day talk about that as well. This is Tony Romo on that subject. It was more
about Jake Browning and the Bengals.
Yes.
Brian Flores, defense coordinator, just made a concerted effort to be like, this is not going to happen again. Him and Kevin O'Connell, and they shut the run down early in the game, and they put, the backup quarterback Browning into a position where he had obvious passing downs. And this is the last team you want to go against. It's like Star Wars out there. They come from everywhere, and you just don't know where to start with your eyes.
It's Tony Romo says, not exactly what you want, a backup going against that defense and that defensive coordinator. Meanwhile, Ian Rappaport, moments ago on the NFL Network, sharing the breaking news.
Coach Kevin Stefanski has just informed the team during a team meeting that Dillon Gabriel is going to start against the Minnesota Vikings in London. The Cleveland Browns are making a quarterback change. Joe Flacco, who is healthy but of course has struggled over the course of the last couple games, heads to the bench. He is now their number 2 quarterback. And Dillon Gabriel is going to be the starter. And for the Cleveland Browns, getting a look at the future right now is something certainly that is important to them.
So they obviously, the spark is something that I think, everybody's alluded to. Everybody thought I was crazy saying I'd probably stick with Flacco at least one more week. And who knows, if they don't win.
But why do you have to feel like
hold
you're
on,
crazy?
If they don't win that Packers game, we might have made this move a week ago, right? I mean, that was in play. I think they won the game, and Kevin Stefanski celebrating in the locker room, and they're losing their minds about beating a Super Bowl contender, and then what, they're going to make a change.
Yeah.
Then
They didn't win that game because of Joe Flacco, though.
I think I will say, I don't know if Dillon Gabriel completes that pass and gets everybody lined up.
I get it,
Then
but
the
they've been
Joker
working
pass,
on it.
You're right. That was a veteran play. I'll give that to Joe, too. Although I don't know why now you feel like you're crazy because you opened the show by saying you thought Flacco should start again this week?
Yeah, I mean, it's...
Why?
It's
why, but if you believe that, why would you change your mind?
Well, I haven't changed my mind.
Okay.
I think this is a mistake. I think Dillon Gabriel, a part of it is the bias I have against him. I don't think he's good. I don't think he was a good draft pick.
I'm excited.
We'll see.
I'm excited that they're starting Gabriel, and it's not that I'm excited to see Dillon Gabriel. I'm excited that we're moving
different.
Forward.
Well, you want to find out if
we're
it was
going to get our
Flacco.
answers, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's necessarily moving forward.
I don't know that I'm
going to
like the answers.
Yes.
I don't know that I'm going to like the answers, but I'm excited to see that we're going to try to answer the questions differently now. And this week's answer will be Dillon Gabriel. And who knows how many weeks before the answer becomes Shedeur Sanders or the answer becomes Bailey Zappi
or
I'm not saying
why
that
can't
name.
he's on the roster?
I'm not saying his name.
He's on the roster. He's the highest paid player on the team. Like, you could say his name. It's not Myles Garrett, right? It's Deshaun Watson.
Yeah,
that's the highest paid player in the game. Anyway,
you do think he's going to play this year, don't you?
Deshaun?
Yes.
With this move being made 4 weeks into the season, yes. We are your best laid plans oftentimes get laid to waste.
How soon until he goes into his 21-day window?
So explain the 21-day window.
So you can bring your guy. So if someone's on IR, you have a 21-day window to take them off the IR. You still don't have to put them on the regular roster, I don't think. And then you have 21 days to decide if you want to put them back on the active roster.
Look, rookie quarterbacks put themselves in horrendous positions in a lot of ways. We as Browns fans should know that. Now we also seen it work. I mean, let's be honest. Baker Mayfield. I know it was a first-round pick, and it was the number 1 overall pick. Baker Mayfield came in and looked instantly better.
Yes.
So I do think there is a world where Dillon Gabriel, with no tape on him, and some scheming up, because we've seen Stefanski, like last week, schemed up the first drive. Maybe he can scheme some things up. Maybe the rollouts aren't as predictable, although you would think they'd be even more predictable now. But they got to think of the protections. They've got to make life easy on Dillon Gabriel. I don't think they're gonna feed him to the wolves, at least intentionally, the way that DTR was a season ago when he found out, like, very, very close up to the game that he was going to be the starter.
2 years ago when
2 years ago, yeah.
It was 10:30 and he found out, hey, you're starting in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous, the whole DTR thing. I actually think that part of this move might be because they do believe Jack Conklin can play this week.
Okay.
And if Jack wasn't there, maybe they would have gone Flacco.
I think they thought he could play 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, but again, this comes back to being a left-handed quarterback.
Jack's had him guessing each and every week right up until kickoff. Let's just put it that way. From some things I've been hearing. Yeah. Hey, let's go to Mike in Cleveland. Go ahead, Mike. How are you?
Hey, guys.
Hey.
Good morning.
Morning.
Listen, how can you guys say we're moving forward, we're going to find out answers if you make Flacco the backup again, and then all of a sudden Gabriel have a bad game? What do you do? Go back to Flacco? I mean, that's going to really look stupid to the whole NFL and everybody that's watching the Browns, to go back to Flacco.
That's when you come up with a mystery injury.
I mean, what about when
They're not going back.
When
to
they're
Flacco.
going to try? No, I'm just saying when they're going to try Shador. Give him a chance. It might be the best
After
guy,
Dylan Gabriel
right,
flames out.
You just said Flacco's going to be the backup.
No,
he is the backup this week.
We didn't say
yes.
he's going to be the next one to start, though.
No.
Nobody said that.
Well, that's true. All right. Okay,
The team
guys.
decided
All right,
Flacco was going to be the backup this week.
Hi, Mike.
Yeah, well, I hope Gabriel. At least I hope he does move the team. You know.
Of course, yeah. We all want. Well, no, I shouldn't say we all. I think the YouTube comment section right now
they
is
want
hoping
one
he falls flat on his face. So it expedites getting Shador Sanders in there.
It's
we
way
can be
more
honest.
than you know. It's way more than YouTube.
We can be honest. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
They found YouTube. They've been reacting, and we appreciate all
It's
the
an
engagement.
area for like-minded people to gather.
Yes, and that's what's been happening. When we come back, we had one lineup change already, pretty big one. We'll hear from Kevin Stefanski at 10:25 live here on the home of the Browns, 92.3 The Fan. Will there be another lineup shakeup? I believe there will, and it could be drastic. What does Matt Underwood think about the formula to beating the Tigers in a win-or-go-home Game 2 of the wild card? That's next here on Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. Anthony Lima, full.
from the Fan from earlier today, get over to 923thefan.com or favorite 923 The Fan on the Odyssey app for all today's headline segments. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 923 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
The Browns are making a move at QB. It's Dylan Gabriel's time in Cleveland, your number one source for breaking news. Stream us at work, 92.3 The Fan on the Odyssey app and 92.3thefan.com.
All right, we told you you'd have all week your chance to win Nate Bargatze tickets. And looking for a winner right now, enter the code word STORIES at the 923thefan.com website. STORIES. Before 10 a.m., your chance to win a pair of tickets to Nate Bargatze Big Dumb Eyes Tour this Friday, October 3rd, 7 p.m. Rocket Arena tickets available, rocketarena.com, all from Outback Presents and Sports Radio 923. The Fan will have Kevin Stefanski at 10:25. Yesterday, Guardians rolled out their lineups at around 10:30. We already know the Browns messed with their lineup for the London game. They're going to go with the backup quarterback is now the starter, Dylan Gabriel. The Guardians, not sure who's going to be in their lineup today. We threw around some hypotheticals. Maybe Matt Underwood of Guardians TV can help us out. Appearing on the Fan Hotline, Matt, playoff baseball, but win or go home. Game number 2 already. It's amazing how quickly things can get amped up come playoff time, or you could be sitting at home watching everybody else. So, Matt, how you feeling? What's your gut feeling about today's game?
I guess, after hearing Stephen vote after the game, it kind of crystallized for me. I mean, the way this team has battled back all season long, especially over the last month, they've been in this kind of mode for a long time. So it won't be for, a lack of preparation. It won't be because they're overwhelmed or they're pressing. I mean, sure, anybody can press at any given moment, but I think they're prepared. They're ready to go out and play Detroit and try to get a win. I mean, I don't think that this is a team that that's going to shrink in the moment. I mean, yesterday Skubal was really good. I thought there were a few at bats that it looked like guys didn't have a great plan. It was almost like just swing and hope, and that's never a good plan. But outside of that, Skubal was, 14 strikeouts. It's a pretty dominant performance, and you knew he was capable of that. So I think they've got to find a way to go out and scratch out some early runs against Casey Mize today. And to your point, I think we'll see a lot of the left-handed hitters in the starting lineup today.
Hi, Matt. Andy Baskin from 92.3 The Fan. Nice to meet you.
You guys know each other?
Baskin, ladies and gentlemen.
Long-time listener, long-time fan. Always appreciate your hard work that you've always put in throughout the years. Are you surprised that they're starting Mize today? Would you have started Mize, or would you have, or would you have switched them around? Would you have Flaherty? Because I don't know. After watching this team go up against Flaherty before, I thought that they struggled with him, and I was just kind of. If I was Detroit, would I have gone with Mize? What would you have done?
Andy, it's an interesting question from this standpoint. Because Skubal went so deep into the game, they only had to use Will Vest yesterday, and he's got a full complement of bullpen arms. Not that bullpen was very reliable down the stretch for Detroit, but he's got everybody at his disposal. I would assume that's the one reason that he pushed Flaherty back to Game 3 is that he pretty much was a 5 and fly pitcher this year. He, for whatever reason, whether it's stamina, whether he just wasn't effective going through the lineup a third time, he was not able to give them length. And so maybe that's why, he's going with Casey Mize. They didn't win either. That's the other crazy thing. When Jack Flaherty pitched, I think the Tigers won 9 of his starts, which is kind of hard to believe. You figure, but every year, there's a pitcher in the rotation that kind of either they score when he pitches, or there's a guy that they don't score when he pitches. And so I look, AJ knows his team better than anybody. That's pretty obvious. And Casey Mize is not going to be any walk in the park. They're going to have to go up and they're going to have a better plan, a better approach, and try to grind through at bats.
All right, so we're talking about the type of approach you're saying, the lefties. Yesterday was a lefty-righty thing against Skubal, and, it's a second-guessing game in baseball. When the stuff you trot out doesn't work, I would argue that was Pedro Martinez yesterday. I mean, we remember the lineups we threw against Pedro Martinez, and they couldn't get the ball out of the infield. Like
exactly.
That to me is how special Skubal was. And if you really look at the numbers, he's been special all along against us. We have just done had these circus innings to try to score runs, and we almost did it again yesterday against the Met. That's the thing that was a killer. Yeah. And then once you got Skubal out of the game in the ninth inning, you're sitting there with a chance that I don't think any Detroit fan, if they're being honest, thought they would really win that game when he was sitting on third base with no outs.
You know that if you could have transported yourself to any Tigers fan living room yesterday, the minute that ball hits Jose and rolls down the right field line and he's standing on third base, they all wanted to throw up. You know, because they're like, I've seen this before. I know how this is going to end. And I think every Cleveland fan was probably thinking the same thing. It's like, okay, we got him now. I mean, they just literally gift wrapped us the tying run, and it didn't happen. I mean, that's why we play. It's the human element. It's the drama of the moment. Hard to fault Jose in that situation. He sees it. He sees the ball on the ground. It's a high chopper. He's thinking he can get there, and then, you know, by the time he's 3/4 of the way home, he realizes he's in trouble. And so, again, it is great. The great thing about baseball is that we second guess it. And really all sports, but truly in baseball, you argue with your friends, you argue with your family members. Why'd they do this? Well, they should have done this. In the moment, you've got one split second to make those decisions, and sometimes they work, and sometimes the other guys get paid too, as we like to say.
Matt, roll out the scenario where Chase DeLauder's on the field.
I think I would assume, it's going to be a situation where you want to take advantage of his athleticism, whether it's pinch running, maybe it's late game defense. We haven't seen him. I don't know, where he's at in terms of his level of ability to get in and compete in an at bat. I mean, we saw him in spring training. There was obviously a lot to like there. Mm-hmm. He's been hurt. He's been in and out of the lineup in AAA. So I don't know where he's at in terms of being able. I mean, I think it would be asking a lot to say, hey, jump in here in an at bat in the second game of the postseason when we haven't really seen him. I don't even know how many at bats he had all season long in AAA this year. So I don't know, Andy. It's a great question.
Just because I think there's some maybe that, hey, they've had luck all the time. Let's throw another one of these rookies out there and try to do it. Because people were kicking around this morning about, well, why don't you start him? Why don't you just let him play? I'm like, ugh.
Andy, he's not Kyle Schwarber, but remember the World Series? It wasn't that long ago, and all of a sudden Kyle Schwarber, who hadn't played all season long, steps in on the World Series and becomes a hero. So it's not out of the realm of possibility to think that he could do that. I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah.
He had 149 plate appearances in AAA this year.
I mean, the whole season, what's crazy is the whole season's been a movie, Matt. It really has. And why not add the final chapter to it by throwing a guy out there that hasn't been up all year and give him the opportunity to win a playoff game to advance into the next series?
Well, and it's like we're having this conversation. It's fun. It's fun to kick it around and wonder and try to figure out what's going to happen, how it's going to play out. But it is a fool's errand to try and predict how this thing's going to play out, because none of us could have predicted the way this season has unrolled and unraveled and the way that this team turned it around, the most remarkable comeback in Major League Baseball history. So it's anybody's guess.
Well, Matt Underwood joining us. Obviously, we've already accomplished some history making it here, and now, based on the numbers of the 12 series prior, under this format, it's very unlikely that the Guardians would win. Make the case that they can once again accomplish some history here in the playoffs.
Well, I think for me, it's the fact that you get Tanner Bybee, you get the ace Tanner Bybee today. If Tanner Bybee goes out and pitches the way that we have seen him pitch, the way we have seen him pitch against Detroit in the past, then you're looking at a winner-take-all Game 3 on Thursday. I mean, that to me is the best-case scenario. Yes, they still have to score, even if he pitches great. I think they will. I think they have the ability to score enough to win. And if Bybee pitches great, then everybody pushes all their chips in on Thursday, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, Bybee last year did have an ERA in the 4 playoff games. Of course, that second Yankee game, he only went 1 1/3, but it was 3.45, gave up a couple of home runs. But, at times I thought he had command, and I've loved what I've seen, really by this entire rotation down the stretch. They've been playing with playoff pressure, so I don't think that is what they're going to succumb to or anything like that. It's just you need some runs, and I need today to look drastically different than it looked like yesterday, because didn't it feel like, Matt, that place was tense? It's kind of quiet for a playoff crowd. Be nice for them to get off to an early start and change the whole dynamic of the series.
I think you're right. I think anytime you're facing a Tarek Skubal, think back over our collective histories in the game. And when you have another team's ace on the mound, like Andy mentioned, Pedro Martinez, if it's Dwight Gooden, if it's Roger Clemens, when you're facing that guy, you better button it up and play really clean. And to literally hand them a first inning run, I think it did put maybe the fans on the edge of their seats early, like, oh no, we can't afford to do this. And I thought Gavin did everything humanly possible to give them an opportunity to win, and they just weren't able to back them up yesterday, and that happens sometimes. So today it's up to Tanner Bybee to go out and basically, do the same thing Gavin did, which he's capable of doing against this lineup. He knows them. He's competed well against them. You can make the case on the other side that familiarity, they're not going to be any mysteries, so maybe that gives the Tigers hitters a little bit of a leg up. But then we saw what Skubal did to a lineup that has seen him a lot in the last couple of weeks. So I think the edge goes to Tanner as long as he executes. If he does that, they'll be in a really good position.
Matt, last question for me. What are you doing at first base? Who would you like to see start? I'm not saying just who would you like to see start at first base today?
Well, again, Andy, I think the way he's played his lineups. I think with Casey Mize on the mound, you would assume that you're going to see C.J. Kafis at first base. Mm-hmm. He's good defensively there. He's a left-handed bat, and then we'll see what he decides to do in right field. But that would be my guess. It could be Manzardo. I mean, he's been riding Kyle Manzardo a lot in down the stretch here. But I think he's definitely a better defender. Not as good with the bat, but I think they're both going to be in there today. So I think you would probably see C.J. Kafis at first base.
I kind of like just the whole aura around C.J. and the way he's been able to fit in with a team that he wasn't with for the majority of the season, and I just think he's been such an important role to this team. I really like watching that kid play.
Low heartbeat guy, and those guys are sometimes. I think back to Lonnie Chisnell. Sometimes those guys are the ones that are dangerous in the postseason, because they don't get too ramped up. They don't seem overly impressed by all of the trappings of the postseason, and maybe he's the perfect guy to step in there and be a difference maker today.
All right, Matt. We feeling good about Jose after the mistake yesterday, or what turned out to be a mistake? We feeling like he could bounce back in a big way?
Yeah, because, Anthony, it's like any sport. You've got to take chances sometimes, and at the end of the day, it's not a good look because he got stuck and he was out by a mile, and that's obviously tough to swallow when you're talking about the tying run in the ninth inning. But it's like in sports. Sometimes you blitz at the wrong time, and they read the blitz and they burn you for a long one. You've got to take chances. You could see his read off the bat was it's a high chopper. I can get home, and it just wasn't as high as he anticipated. Invest made a quick throw and made a good play. So I never doubt Jose. Jose's confidence is never. There are times where he maybe isn't feeling quite as great, but I've never seen him down. I've never seen him, walking around with his head down and sulking. So I'm sure he was mad. He probably thought about it a little bit last night, and then he'll come today ready to go.
Matt Underwood, Guardians TV, terrific job all year, and hopefully this is the last opportunity to get a chance to talk to you about the playoffs.
All right, guys. Appreciate the time.
Thanks, Matt.
All right.
See you guys.
Matt Underwood, Guardians TV, thank you so much. And he talked about some of the changes. We will break them down when we come back. And also, Browns made a move today. You feeling good about that one? Which lineup changes are you feeling better about? That's all coming up straight ahead here on Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Get ready for game. NLCS. Cavaliers continue with training camp this afternoon at the IMG Academy in Bradenton, Florida. Cavs continue camp through Sunday. Less than a week to go until the Cavs begin the preseason. They'll entertain the Chicago Bulls at Rocket Arena on Tuesday. Listen to the Fan Rewind weeknights 11 to midnight. All the best segments from all our shows, and you can always listen on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
All right, we thank Matt Underwood for joining the show as the Guardians are hoping to prolong their season and force a winner-take-all wildcard edition. Game 3 tomorrow, but they got to win today. And we expect Guardians to make their lineup public, whatever changes they may make, and they are definitely going to make changes. Coming up in about 1 hour, also about 1 hour from now, Kevin Stefanski will talk in Berea, and he will have to answer to why he's going to the backup. I think most of you seem to support the move. You were desperate to see anybody that wasn't Joe Flacco, and how I know that is nobody liked Dillon Gabriel when they drafted him. So what has changed? You've seen some preseason games. All right. So Jared Stidham was good in the preseason. So was Tanner McKee.
For 2 rounds, I think.
I don't think that matters.
For 2 rounds, I think people were okay with it.
What do you mean?
I'm just saying, they were like, okay, well, they got Dillon Gabriel. This is going to be our backup quarterback, or this is the guy they might want to have in the future.
You're saying once they took Shedeur.
Once they took Shedeur, everything became a drama. Everything became a mess. If they wouldn't have drafted another quarterback, I think this would be a much easier transition.
You think fans would be excited?
Yes.
About Dillon Gabriel?
Yes.
Because I'm not excited. I think
there are fans that are excited to see him. That it won't look, if he goes out there and if they score 20 points or more, this Sunday, people will be excited to see him come back.
Well, I do think this is the week where you could get some short fields, because if Carson Wentz is going to be the starter, he makes huge mistakes. He makes the rookie mistakes when he is under pressure. And look at their offensive line. Their offensive line is an absolute shambles as well.
Did you think they were coming back? The fourth quarter of that game last week in Dublin, right? They were down. Pittsburgh had the lead. Then all of a sudden, Minnesota came back at the end, and I was like, "Oh, this is interesting."
Yeah,
they
I don't
got the
trust
ball at the
Carson
end.
Wentz though at all.
Right.
You know, so this is. I know you said so many people said this is not the week because of the travel stuff, but if you're looking for an opponent that's ripe for the taking, Minnesota right now, to me, is without having to wait until we get to Miami, right?
Right.
Because Miami's the next one. So you might as well. I would rather it be.
What, you mean Pittsburgh? No,
I'm saying that's the next opportunity, right? Pittsburgh's not an opportunity.
Right, okay.
So instead of waiting another 2 weeks, let's just do it now. They rip the Band-Aid off. Let's go. Yeah. And then maybe when Miami rolls around, they've decided that 2 weeks was enough of that, and they do something else again. I don't think that's happening, but
yeah, I'll admit it.
You never know.
I'll admit it. I have to see. Dillon Gabriel actually play well for me to be excited, because it's not somebody I would ever draft. I was very confused as to why they drafted him in the first place. But you never know how these things are going to work out. Yeah, Brock Purdy, I'm sure no 49er fans, after they had moved up to get Trey Lance, nobody thought a guy drafted at the end of the.
I'm sure people didn't even think he was going to make the roster.
Yeah,
I don't
so
think
it can happen. It's not like I'm dooming Dillon Gabriel. I mean, what an opportunity.
Yes.
I mean, where else? When we talked about Shedeur Sanders calling his shots, doesn't think he would have an opportunity in Baltimore, and ironically, they've got
he
injured
would be
quarterback.
The starting quarterback this week.
Maybe who knows? We joked about it yesterday, but in this case, what an unbelievable opportunity for Dillon Gabriel. Now, there's give and take. The give and take is this is not the Browns' offensive line of the last 10 years. This is the worst version. Even if Jack Conklin's back, how healthy is he going to be?
I just think at 1-3, Browns fans are okay with this. I don't think anyone hates it.
No,
I really don't think Browns fans hate it by any means. Why would you? Look, you're 1-3. Where are you going? And if you're a Shedeur Sanders fan, you're probably excited about this too, because it probably moves your quarterback up another notch to have a chance to play. You could say.
I don't know if Shedeur fans are thinking like that. I think they're thinking that he's still getting slighted by not being ahead,
I get it. I'm sure that's exactly how hardcore Shedeur fans feel, that he should be the one getting the opportunity this week. That's just not the way it's played out this year. So see what happens. Again, you're 2 snaps away from being able to play. I also wonder, although I don't know if I'm doing it with all the offensive line problems they've had, but do you not make him the emergency quarterback, just put him on the active roster and then you don't have to have an emergency quarterback this week.
I don't know.
You don't have to.
He can't jump the line if he's in that emergency role because he can be not part of the 46. But if he's part of the 46,
correct,
then you can put him in over Joe in the game.
And maybe you have a Shedeur Sanders package you want to put into the game. I just think that's really minuscule for an entire game that you may have a scenario where you like Shedeur and you might want to play him in one spot or another.
I laugh, though, because
you still can have an emergency quarterback after. You can still carry free in there.
We have been perusing the networks in studio. We have the monitors on. And while we went into breaking coverage, so did the networks.
Yeah.
They showed an image of Dillon Gabriel on a graphic. The highlights and lowlights were all Shedeur Sanders. So this allowed them the opportunity to start talking about Shedeur again. And I do wonder if that's where some of the excitement comes in today, is that it feels like to some of the fan base you're one step closer to Shedeur, which leads me to the next question. Joe Flacco is listed as the backup this week. And obviously, if there's an injury, they'll go to Joe Flacco.
Right.
Like, they will play him.
They have to. They don't have a choice if Shedeur is the emergency quarterback. They don't have a choice.
They would go back to Joe Flacco. But is that it? Like, what would happen the following week?
You're asking, will he be the starter again if something were to happen to Dillon? Yeah.
Yes. And I think they would go back to Joe Flacco. I know that Daryl was on record over the last week saying there's no going back to Joe Flacco. I think it's so early in the season, they think it's far too early based on their behavior, based on all the stuff we've been hearing out of Berea, the national stuff. I don't think they think Shedeur is anywhere near ready enough to bring him in before Flacco. Do you think I'm wrong?
No, I think you're right. My mind starts wandering on this stuff and still wondering when Deshaun's going to come back into play.
Well, that's
on
the
this
other
whole
name.
thing. That's the other part of this. So, if for some
that's
reason
the
they
name
think
nobody wants to hear.
ROI, baby, they're still paying him.
Maybe Jimmy Haslam wants to hear it. He's still paying him. He went to the wedding.
He wants to hear it. Deshaun wants to hear it.
Okay, there's two.
Okay. Sean's wife?
New wife.
Yeah.
There we
What
go.
do you think?
We're at
Does he? Wait. Does Deshaun behind
His
that line?
quarterback coach.
Does he want to see? He's seen the receivers. He's seen the offensive line so far this year. We sure Watson coming off another injury, surgically repaired. What was it this time? Was it the knee this time, or was it the Achilles?
Achilles.
Yeah.
Okay, I get him mixed up.
Double Achilles surgery on
so
one Achilles.
Are we sure he wants to get back out there right now?
He can't. Well, he can. They could make him active this week. They could have taken. Yeah, he's. I mean,
he's in the window.
There's a practice window and then there's an activation window. And if they wanted him to be, let's say Flacco had like a season. I hate saying stuff like this, but let's just say he was done for the season for some reason. Okay. You going to tell me they're not going to activate him? That they're not going to put it? Bailey Zappi's probably going to go. Now you're back to 4 quarterbacks again. 4 or 5 quarterbacks the whole season. We've been talking about.
You can't blame us for speculating. They're the team that had the 4-way QB competition, traded the guy that some in the organization wanted to be the starter,
right?
Because he had for no other reason he had a hamstring injury. That's the other part of this. Like we talk about guys.
I guarantee Jeff brings this up in the next hour.
Well, we talk about all the time seizing control of an opportunity. In this case, did Dillon Gabriel seize control of this opportunity, or was it the hamstring injury? To one of the quarterbacks, to the other quarterback, being under assault, the offensive line injuries that made his lack of mobility even more of an issue.
We did it all preseason. Dillon Gabriel was last on everybody's list except for Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry's.
Right.
So, but it is a seizing of some sort, right?
They believe he is the best quarterback for the job this week against Minnesota to win.
Or were they feeling the pressure?
No, they believe. They have to believe.
Were they feeling the pressure way more than just football? Like, what has really changed? What, honestly, materially,
they feel like the offense could be better with Dillon Gabriel. That's all there is to it.
They didn't think that 4 weeks ago. So what has truly changed? Okay, you had 2 interceptions just earlier in the season that weren't Flacco's fault. Last week, you had Albert Breer on yesterday. He didn't think either interception last week was Joe Flacco's fault. He said it was basically lousy receiver play and miscommunication.
Right.
Which I still think the first interception.
Maybe
you have to put
they
on Flacco,
believe Dylan Gabriel has a better concept and a better grip of what they're trying to do.
Oh, they think he's gotten up to speed with
an opportunity
with all those reps he's had the last 4 weeks. What are the reps he's had the last 4 weeks?
How many reps have you seen in practice? I haven't seen any. I don't know who's getting reps.
All I heard about was Shedeur Sanders getting pity reps at the end of practice. That's all I heard.
Well,
I didn't
goes
hear
to Baldwin Wallace and gets reps.
And then the reps with the receivers, the Division III Baldwin Wallace. So that's all I've heard. I haven't heard anything about Dylan Gabriel getting up to speed. I haven't heard anything. Just the coaches are always going to say.
Who's asking that, though? Who's asking?
Well, they're asking Shedeur Sanders questions in the locker room.
But they're not asking, hey, is Dylan up? Today, they will finally ask those questions. Has Dylan gotten up to speed? Why is Dylan the right choice this week and he wasn't last week? That's what the real question is.
I don't think anything's changed except the pressure. I think the pressure is mounting.
When has the organization...
in fact, I'll even say this. Guys, they are advertising ticket sales during a Browns regular season. I've never seen that
When
before.
has this organization and this front office ever succumbed to any pressure? They tried to the fans tried to pressure him into bringing Flacco back last year. They didn't do it. They have not given in to fan pressure to this point. When we've all sat here and said that they need to give in to fan pressure,
but
I don't know why fan pressure would have made this quarterback.
Anthony, I'm just going to tell you straight out, you're wrong on the ad thing.
I think they're hearing apathy. I think they're seeing empty seats at the home opener, which we haven't had since like '99. Empty seats.
If it was that, then they'd go to Shedeur right now.
That's right.
Well,
You're right.
They can't because the coaches are saying he's not even close to ready. He doesn't even know the playbook.
They're already selling Shedeur. There's two jerseys in the room that we're in.
They are monetarily, yes, they are trying to capitalize on it.
But you're not right about the season ticket thing. The season ticket thing is on all the time. I've seen it.
I'm hearing very different things than you are behind the scenes about their
but not about advertising. They're always advertising, whether it was being on the list,
Andy,
or whether it is about getting season tickets.
I've never seen this many tickets up for grabs. I've never seen it for a Browns regular season.
Point. No, your point
that includes the 0-16 year. We did not have this many seats up for grabs. They are feeling the pressure, and you don't think that pressure trickles down from ownership to the management to the marketing, and then comes all the way out in a season where we all agreed before the year. We kept asking this question: what's the season about? What is this season about? What do you guys think it's about? Is it really going to the Super Bowl? No, you can check that off the list. Is it to go to the AFC Championship game? No, it's not off the list. Is it even really going for the playoffs? And before the season, when the odds makers had you with the lowest win total in the NFL, when people were telling you that you got a 4-quarterback competition, 4-man competition, and Joe Flacco, the 40-year-old, wins it, was winning ever the thought this year? They're feeling the pressure.
I hear you. As like Kevin Stefanski does every time, he doesn't answer the question that you're saying. What I'm saying to you, if you want to listen on this one, is that they have always been consistent about trying to sell tickets, whether it's being on a waiting list or whether it's being, having actual tickets. You may be right. They may have more empty seats than they've ever had in forever. And I'll agree with you. But that's not the point that you had made was, look, all of a sudden they're starting to advertise. No. They've always advertised for season tickets. They've always advertised about getting on the list.
Andy, I thought there was a waiting list.
I said, if you were listening,
there's no waiting list anymore.
I haven't heard that in a while. I haven't heard that spot yet.
Yeah, because it's over. The waiting list is over. But the good news is, Dylan Gabriel, you've got your start coming up this week in London. Early start, and you get to go up against the Brian Flores defense. I hope he's got the reps. I hadn't heard much about the reps. I'm sure we'll hear today how much of the reps has he been getting all the way along. Meanwhile, we've got playoff baseball today, and we've got game 2 of the wild card. Andy, has your gut feeling changed so far throughout the show? You've had 3.5 hours. Do you feel better right now? We had Matt Underwood join us on the show. He gave I would say, an impassioned plea that they can win this game and keep the season going and force a pivotal game 3 in Detroit. How are you feeling right now?
Exactly the same way I was when I walked in the door. Be where your feet are. This team has done this consistently over the last month. I like them today. I like the fact they're not going up against Scooble again. And I think they're going to win today, and I think they're going to force a game 3. I thought that when I walked in the door. I thought that when I watched the game yesterday. I thought that while you were angry with our best player trying to score in a pressure situation. You might be mad at him. I wasn't. I'm going to give him a statue. He's Jose Ramirez, and it's not going to happen 2 days in a row. I'd like the Guardians today.
All right. I got a question for you when we come back. 216-474-0092. Want to hear from Guardians fans as we're getting closer to first pitch today. How are you feeling about this team? Can they save the season with a win today? And how big does Jose need to come up today in this game. How big of a game does he need? There's some people starting to note a very checkered postseason past from Jose Ramirez. Does he have to answer to anybody? He dodged the media after yesterday's game and the big mistake. What does he have to do today? We'll get to that when we come back here on Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. Anthony Lima for Fanatics Sportsbook. Ladies and gentlemen, Fanatics Sportsbook is where you need to go this time of the year. Why? Because with all the emotion, you hear the emotion in our voices when it comes to football. No.
and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
The Guardians flagship stations are not built to talk about the playoffs anytime you want. That's why we exist. Cleveland's sports radio. Play ball! 92.3 The Fan.
The way this team has battled back all season long, especially over the last month, they've been in this kind of mode for a long time. So I don't think that this is a team that's going to shrink in the moment. I think they've got to find a way to go out and scratch out some early runs against Casey Mize today. And to your point, I think we'll see a lot of the left-handed hitters in the starting lineup today.
All right, that was Matt Underwood early on, and I think Matt was feeling better about today. How can you not? You're not going up against Skubal. I don't even care what you do with the lineup, how you retool it. We know one thing, like we know who we're not going to see, right? At least in the starting lineup. You'd be stunned if you saw Noel. You'd be stunned if you saw Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Like you're going to see
better
better hitters today.
Overly confident today, but I'm also not being a pessimist about today. But if you bring out Jonathan Rodriguez in this starting lineup, especially, you're going to kill my confidence in anything we had today. I can't see that guy again.
He's 0 for 3 against Casey Mize. Your best hitters today, no surprise, Stephen Kwan, who has 2 hits against Mize and 9 at-bats. Bo Naylor has 3 hits and 8 events, 2 of them for extra bases. They were both doubles. He's got a home run against them, too. So all 3 of those hits are for extra bases. Look at that, 2 doubles and a home run. So you got to like Bo Naylor, Babe Naylor today. You got to like him. And, of course, you have to like Jose Ramirez. He's hitting .500 against Casey Mize. He's 5 for 10, 2 home runs.
And all that hitting's great, right? But we got Tanner Bybee on the mound, right? Tanner Bybee, he got to talk yesterday. He doesn't care what the series is at. He doesn't care if he's up a game or he's down a game. He said the job doesn't matter for him. This is Tanner Bybee yesterday.
Obviously, you're trying to win every single game. That's my job when I'm going out there. I think when I'm going out there, my job is to prevent runs from being scored or minimizing damage. It's like my job doesn't really change too much.
That was
before the game, right?
That was before.
Yeah, that was his pre-game one.
Yeah. And obviously, things change for us, for him. Yeah, I mean, I think he always knew there was a chance that you're due to lose against Skubal, so you're going to be down 0-1.
Right.
What do you think of him? Like, we look at these guys. Like, yesterday, Gavin Williams was irritated with the home plate ump for a little bit.
Sure.
And he got even a little demonstrative to the point where Sean McDonough is like, look, I know they're not going to throw him out of the game, but you don't want to get off on a bet.
Not helping his case at all. That's McDonough brought that up.
I'm going to be honest with you. That's one of the reasons I like Gavin Williams, though, because he's not scared to show his emotions. He's not a robot on the hill, and that's how he's earned his way to be the number 1 pitcher in this rotation.
Yeah, you just didn't want to get him caught up in the moment, and he wasn't. He pitched through it, and he was spectacular, and I feel bad that today Gavin Williams, we laughed about going 40 minutes of the show without even mentioning him, when that's one of the great starts. Think about when you go back to 95, right? We talked about the hitting and 97 in the postseason, but the pitching, when you get a performance like Gavin Williams got yesterday, it's not going to be remembered, unfortunately, because they end up losing the game. That is a great postseason pitching moment, what Gavin Williams gave you. And now you need another one. And that is the strength of this team. You do have the opportunity to at least come into today and at least even this up and have us get some confidence at home, because you got a pitcher that you're confident in. And I think this city is pretty damn confident in Bybee right now. Don't you think, Andy? Don't you think this is at least one of the strengths of the team, is that he can go out there and pitch a really, really strong performance?
There was a phone call that was sitting on hold for a long time that said that Skubal wasn't very good yesterday and that the Indians were just swinging at garbage all day yesterday. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, he makes you swing at garbage.
Yes.
Guys, he was at 101 in the 7th inning.
And had an opportunity, had you played a perfect game yesterday, to beat Tarek Skubal again. You had that opportunity. That gives me hope for today. I'm sorry. I mean, you had 2 bad defensive plays and then a decision that you had to make when you had a runner at third. I'm not going to sit here and rip him aggressive. I don't have a problem with my best player on the team wanting to be aggressive. I'm just not going to feel
I did think we'd get more, honestly, today in the terms of second guessing about Rocchio's bunting attempt with 2 outs.
Yeah.
That one hurt. I will say, against Skubal, considering the bad at-bats, considering the shaky approach, considering how it looked like the moment was too big for some of our guys. Not that Rocchio is one of them because he's been able to make contact, but in a weird way, I thought that could be a good opportunity.
Didn't that formula work last time?
It did.
Especially in a moment where you don't expect it. It's just he needed to play down a better bunt. That's all there is to it. The ball went too far down the line, and it was too easy for Skubal to make the play. That's all there is to it. If it dies around home plate, he's got a better shot.
Skubal, we thought, could he be in his head trying to make a play like that? He had been so bad in those situations. And the funny thing is that snap that he had between his legs against us, that's not the first time he's done that. So he kind of gets rattled in those ways. He did not get rattled with the actual pitching. That guy was dialed in. That's as dominant as a performance
you
as you'll
lost
ever
to Cy
see.
Young yesterday. I can live with that.
Well, I said Pedro. It was Pedro.
I didn't see Cy pitch, but I'm sure. I'm sure that he was outstanding every time.
So that brings me to a little bit of an uncomfortable question, maybe called a reverse jinx. So, Jose, in the end, it's going to go down as a mistake. I know there's a debate in this town about whether it was smart to go on contact, whether it's not. In the end, it goes down as a mistake because nothing good happened when he got caught down in the rundown, and that's the beginning of their demise yesterday. We do from time to time, anytime we start to celebrate Jose. It was a week ago, Ken wanted to lead the show with, is this the best Cleveland Indian / Guardian ever? Build the statue right now with Jose.
I'm the same way. I'm with him. I'm with Ken on that.
So there's no doubt he is one of the all-time Cleveland athletes in our lifetime that we share universally in a joy for the way he plays the game and everything, the embodiment of who he is. The fabric of Cleveland, right? Wears us, this city, on his sleeve when very few guys do that. Some guys, the minute they get a chance to get the hell out of town, they do.
He took the sacred bond. He wanted to be here.
Absolutely. So now comes the uncomfortable part of this conversation.
Yeah.
Does he need to have a big playoff moment today?
No.
You don't think so?
Will he? Yes. Look at his numbers. His numbers are telling you that he will have a big moment in today's game. History tells you against this pitcher, he should be able to do something okay. Something that's going to help this team win. If he gets 4 at-bats, at least one of those at-bats is going to be a big play. And he's hit extra base hits against him before, too. So, no, he does not have to have a moment to change the way I feel about him or the way what he means to this organization, this team, this city.
For whatever
the fact
reason.
That you know what? Nothing will be greater than him staying and taking less money. Nothing. That is a Bernie Kosar statement. Bernie figured out a way to play in Cleveland through the supplemental draft. Jose Ramirez wanted to be here.
So, can I just give you some numbers? I said it'd be uncomfortable.
Go ahead.
I am. Listen, I know we're supposed to pump everybody up, and this is why I'm trying to operate under maybe a reverse jinx here. Maybe this is the time to will it into existence. He's batting lifetime .235 in 43 playoff games. .235. He has walked 17 times, but he struck out 32 times. Now, last year, got a couple of home runs, but he only has 4 home runs in the playoffs. Is he due? Does he need a big playoff moment?
Does he need one?
Yeah.
No. Will he have one? Probably. Odds are. Again, he's hitting .500 against Casey Mize. And we're talking about 10 at-bats. This isn't just like, it's a little slice of the pie for the whole season.
Oh, and do you think it's even crazy to bring up?
Yes. Next question.
So Clayton Kershaw didn't get it brought up all the time about his playoff inadequacies.
Yeah, and then he ended up changing that.
Well, that's
right?
what I'm saying.
Yeah, he also did that at a much earlier age, more consistently, right? He was in the playoffs a ton and blowing the playoffs a ton. I don't think that there's a difference between a pitcher and an everyday player when it comes to that stuff. Everyday players, you can not hit and still be effective, on the field and with your defense and all that. I'm fine with who Jose is. I appreciate who he's here. I'm happy that he gave us this stuff here.
What does Cleveland mean to you?
Cleveland is the best. I love Cleveland.
And Cleveland loves you.
It's my house. Cleveland is my house.
Wouldn't it be awesome if wouldn't it be awesome to play this audio tomorrow? Me even bringing this up, and then Jose...
I can't wait to rub your face in it.
And Jose saves the season. and puts the team on his back. Hey, it'd be nice if Quan showed up too.
And then what'll be even better is next year in spring training, that Jose Ramirez commercial of him driving his car around, and there's the naysayer Anthony Lima on the radio.
He's listening to us. Yeah, it's a little insider.
And then he looks at the radio and he goes, ha, 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 ha.
It happened with Kipnis. Can it happen for Jose and the Guardians today? Bybee on the Hill, 1:08 start time, and you will get those lineups coming up in about 35 minutes. Also, we'll hear from Kevin Stefanski in less than that, 10:25. Kevin Stefanski will speak today and answer the questions. How confident is he about Dillon Gabriel making his first start, week number 5 of the NFL season? Tally-ho. He's going to be doing it in London. Tottenham, Hotspur, Tottenheim, Tooten Putin, Hotstein, in a soccer stadium.
Isaiah Harstein.
All right, they're going to get it done today?
Yes.
They're going to get it done. All right, that's Andy Baskin. For Matt Underwood, for Mitch, and for Owen, Baskin and Phelps coming up next. Baskin, you working another 4 hours?
If that's what it takes for them to get a win, I will be here for another 4 hours.
Right, that's
See ya. Goodbye.
Hey, sounds good.
Where's your entourage now?
Cool, I got on the last show.
Loser town, loser fans, and you guys are a loser show.
Probably not a good move. Thanks.
This is Boomer Esiason with an Odyssey Sports Minute. Artificial intelligence is poised to become a major difference maker in the NFL, and among the most eager early adapters is the league's oldest coach, Pete Carroll. That does not surprise me. Ironically, both OpenAI's Chat